easier, but then when you have technical issues, it's just the fucking worst.
For real, dude. Audio input capture, and then we're gonna do a fucking advanced audio property, and we're gonna do. Black magic design. Okay. Talking to the mic.
Testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we got it.
It's picking up now.
We're fucking back in town.
All right. Yeah, go ahead. All right, we good? Yeah, okay, for fuck's sake. It's always a fucking learning progress, dude. Like, you know about as well as anybody else, like, working with tech, like you were just saying, the stuff we can do with it is fucking great, but once it goes wrong, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. That's just life, though.
Yeah. So so before we get into the nitty gritty of it, let's talk about like what you were doing there at Sister, because the product you put out that I've seen, the pictures wise, is fucking sick.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. So what was your gig that night at Sister?
So actually, I was shooting under ABQ Live that night. I think I forget which night that was, but they usually have me bar hop sometimes from place to place downtown. And I forget if that was the night I did 6 locations or 4 locations. But if it was the 4 location, I went to Sister, FX, El Rey, and 401.
Damn.
And I think that was my first stop, because from Sister Bar, yeah, it was that night. So I went from Sister Bar to El Rey for this little show. And then I went down to 401. And then I ended the night at FX. And I just had to get I think 25 photos each place. So
damn.
Yeah, I was just kind of running in and out. I like the pressure though, because it's like you got to go all out and then dip. Like you can't really linger. So it's just I'll go from person to person and just ask them. And so I just saw you guys look cool. Like you could kind of read people that wouldn't mind a photo type thing. So
yeah,
I just asked you guys, and then that's like how we met. So that was cool. It's really dope actually going out like that, because you meet, like, you'll never know who you meet. Like there's so much opportunity by just talking to people. So it's like you never know who you're going to connect with.
No, for real. That's a real thing, man. And I don't do anything near like as creative or like as social as what you do, but even just going out now after doing all this, like, yeah, the people you meet's fucking cool. Usually it's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm really excited to have you here. I'm very excited to have you. I'm very happy you came down. We're starting way later than we planned, but
no, it's good. I didn't plan anything for tonight. So it's straight.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming down and bearing with us, man. Before we get into the rest of the pod, we're going to do a quick little ad spot about the people that help make this live stream possible for everybody. I'm proud to announce that the podcast is now officially sponsored by the fine people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, this is some of the best chili you can get here in the state of New Mexico, and they are online as well as in stores. They can be found at Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, John Brooks, and Lowe's Corner Market. They have 3 amazing flavors that you see here, and they also have frozen green chili that you can get online. Go on over to the website, chopchilico.com, and get yourself some amazing chili today. Yeah, exactly. All right, we're back up. Audio's going.
Camera, audio.
I know, right? Fuck.
Light, sound, action.
So I've got a litany of questions for you. Let's start with, have you, because you're very expressive just by looking at you. Like, you're a very expressive person. I mean, you've got hours and hours of ink on you. You said this is like your darker sweatshirt, but it's brighter than anything that I fucking got, you know? And has the expressiveness, the creativity, has that always been a part of you? Is that something you developed as you grew up? Like,
I feel like as I got older, it got more intense, but that's just because when you're younger, you don't really know who you are and you kind of find yourself. Because I went through a lot of different styles. Like in elementary school, I was like somewhat normal, and then I kind of like got in the emo phase with the skinny jeans and long hair and all that crap. And then
Yeah, we were all there.
yeah, and then middle school, like towards the end, like 8th grade, I started wearing like triple XL clothes, like freaking pants down to my knees. Like, so I went from emo kid to like thug style. And then high school, I kind of like was both in a sense. And then like I did a couple of styles after that, and now I'm kind of like just so many styles into one. So it's like you just stirred up all these different styles and then came out me. So I'm kind of like just a bunch of different things combined because I like exploring a lot of different things. I think you shouldn't really be closed off to one thing. In a lot of cases, you should be very open-minded with different styles and different perspectives in life in general. But so, and then another factor was that once I got more money, I could afford being more creative, because sometimes like other clothes are more expensive, or like you can't do certain things. So I grew up like very poor. So as I got more money, I was able to like advance more creatively with like, well, just like you wouldn't be able to afford this setup if it wasn't for money. So it's just like, as you get older, you get more money, you could be more like creative with your endeavors.
And don't let it fool you, dude. This was not all me. I definitely had some help. So but I feel that like the money aspect, it's interesting you bring that up, because that really does hold back a lot of people, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think it's money, and then I think it's also the environment you grow up in, right? I you know, you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have like not even like a encouraging environment, but at least one person telling you like, hey, you should explore what you're into, good job. That goes a long way for a lot of, you know, kids, preteens, you know, adolescents, stuff like that. Where did you grow up? And did you grow up in an environment that kind of like harbored creativity, like supported you like in your growth? Or
I definitely say big props to my mom. So it was just my whole life, we didn't really have family. It was me, my brother, and my mom growing up like all the time. She would always try to like ask like family members for help, but like no one really helped us. Like even as far as back as me being, I think I was 1 year old and my brother's like 2.5 years. So he was like 3. And I think we just, because I was born in North Carolina, my dad was on Fort Bragg, and then she left him and drove all the way back with me and my brother, like in a U-Haul, all the way back to New Mexico when I was like just born, like a couple of months after. And as far as back, like as that, she asked her mom if we could stay there. And after a couple days, like her mom literally kicked us out, and it was like us 2 babies and like her. And so like, a lot of it is a blur. There's a lot of shit like my mom doesn't tell me. Like I'll find out other things as I get older. I'm like, are you serious? Like that really happened? She's like, yeah, I didn't want to tell you when you're younger, because like it's like sad, like how like we grew up, and she didn't want us to like tell us that when we were younger, like what we went through, because obviously I don't remember like any of it as much. But going back to your question, she's always just let me and my brother like do our thing, as long as we're not being destructive or like hurting others. Like whatever we want to do, like she'd let us do. So I feel like that was a big thing growing up, is that she didn't really put a limit or a cap of like who we wanted to be, or she just wanted us to be successful and be who we are. So I feel like that's really where it started. So props to my mom for that.
Yeah, no, that's a huge blessing, man. That's a resilient lady.
Yeah.
Fucking going from, you know, military living to her mom's, and now into like completely just out on her own with you guys. Like that takes a whole other level of conviction, I guess. You know what I mean? Because just like today, like a lot of people just straight up abandon their kids, right? Yeah. And you know, that's such a fucking crazy story. So you guys settled down, and do you settle down in Albuquerque?
Yeah. So they were from Albuquerque before. It was just my father was like going from base to base. So being a military or army mom or wife, we would travel with them, but that's where I was born. And then my brother went through a lot more shit growing up, like his early ages of development, and she saw how that affected him. So then she didn't want to put me through the same hardships because the first like couple of years is a big development stages of your mindset. So she didn't want to put me through the same stuff my brother did while being with my father. So then that's why like after like a month or 2 after I got born, she like left him, because she wanted like a better upbringing for me versus my brother. But we were originally from Albuquerque, and then we came back to Albuquerque, and I don't remember much after that or off the top of my head what she's told me, but growing up like through elementary school, middle school, high school, we would always be bouncing from like apartment to apartment. Like I remember in 1 year we lived in like 5 different places because we just kept getting convicted and like jumping from place to place, just trying to make ends meet. And then in freshman year was like, I'm probably jumping too ahead of myself. It's just like, it's along those lines of living, because we were homeless like when I was freshman. And it was like for like 6 months, I believe. Like my whole freshman year was like really screwed, but that's just like a part of it. And then I don't want to jump too ahead of myself, but yeah, so it's just always been hard, like living situations with us. I mean, it's way better now. I kind of blame me and my brother though, because we were like delinquents and we would get expelled from school as far back as like middle school and stuff, getting expelled and stuff. So we're really big troublemakers. So we would stress the hell out of my mom like 24/7. Yeah. So it's kind of our fault too, just being those type of kids. But it's a blessing though, going through all that, because I got it out of the way. Like, I feel like everybody has their kind of like crazy phases in life. So growing up, I was like a really, really bad kid. So then as I matured like way more faster and like got my shit together way early on, because I already went through all the BS like as a kid. So it helped me like mature and just grow as an individual so much more faster than like an individual with like an easy upbringing and like didn't have to go through hardships early on. Because if you grow up, you move out, you're going to have hardships, like no matter what, being on your own. So like having to develop like that dog mentality from like an early age on, I was able to set myself up for success. Like even now, every day is like a further step closer to my dreams because of all the hardships like I endeavor every single like day.
So I would agree with that. And you know, it's good that you bring that up, because that's what I was kind of thinking as you were saying, well, we stressed our mom out. We were kind of delinquents. And, you know, again, just in the context that you've told me, you know, looking back on that in retrospect, do you see that now as, yeah, we were bad kids, we were delinquents? Or do you see that as like, yo, we were 13, 14 years old. No. All we knew was survival mode 24/7, it sounds like. And you know, you get kids that have grown up in an environment like that, you stick them in a traditional education system, they don't give a fuck what happened in 1492. They're trying to figure out what we're doing for dinner tonight. Yeah, they're trying to figure out how are we going to pack up our shit and bounce because we've got 2 weeks to go. Like, they're worried about the now. They're worried about like how, like, what is most important to my living situation. And because I never, you know, I never personally went through anything like that, but I just remember being as a kid in high school, not concerned about what's like the benefit that I can get out of going to school in that moment. I would never have that foresight back then. It was just, okay, how can I get enough grades just to get through the year? I don't really care what the ripple effects are going to be. And I didn't have that extra, you know, all that's going on. I wouldn't even say in the back of your head, in the forefront of your mind. It's like, hey, we have bigger issues right now than Algebra 2. Yeah. What the fuck is going on? So when you're already like revving your RPMs at like 4,000, 5,000, then a teacher gives you some shit, kids at school give you some shit, someone might take a right hook. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Do you feel like it's a little bit of that?
In a sense, school was easy, actually. I made really good grades if I went to school, because a lot of times I would be ditching, or like I ran away freshman year for a while too. So that like really threw me behind. But when I was in school, like, it's easy. Everything's in the textbook. Just listen to the teacher. It's really not that hard. Like, people just make it hard because of the distractions.
That's a fact.
Because I feel like high school is just like a big like drama show, like who's cooler, who's doing that one with TikTok too. All these kids like stealing toilets and like freaking soap dispensers.
Because okay, this motherfucker is the reason why I'm on TikTok. And people listen to the pod for a while. They know this. David is the reason why he bullied me into getting on TikTok for this fucking podcast. And one of the first things that I saw was like the lasting remnants of that trend.
It was
challenge.
called Devious Deed or something.
Yeah,
some
well,
crap like that.
motherfuckers were stealing toilets. They were
Yeah.
stealing water fountains. They were stealing, like, one kid stole a projector out of
Yeah,
their
it's-
high school.
it's ridiculous.
Like, bro.
And I feel like social media is a big driving factor for like
Oh yeah.
kids' mindsets nowadays.
Yeah.
And we're lucky. We're like some of the last generations to grow up without all that BS. Because
We were there in its its alpha. You know what I mean? Like, it was just coming up. Like, I had a conversation with one of my old teachers. He randomly crossed my mind, so I called him up, and he was still at the school. It's like, oh shit, what's up, dude?
yeah,
Real cool guy. We were having this conversation, I think, on like Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, Tuesday. And he was talking about how, my class, or like my generation that went through the school, we had smartphones, kind of. Like, if you were one of the more well-off families, you had a smartphone. If you weren't, you still had like the Sidekick or the fucking Razor or whatever it was.
I had the flip one.
Yeah.
The one that slid up with the keypad.
exactly.
You thought you were the shit. If
That's
you
what I had,
if you
too.
had a keypad, because that was huge, because you didn't have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
All that.
The
like,
T9.
Yeah, like this.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
those smaller ones.
And so, like, our generation going through was like, you had social media, but you didn't. You kind of take it or leave it. Like, it wasn't like your big distraction in class was still talking to other students.
yeah.
That was your distraction, was fucking with each other. Who can get in trouble, like get the other one in trouble first and shit like that. Like, that was your distraction. But nowadays he's like, yeah, when you guys were coming through, my big challenge in the beginning of the class is getting y'all to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
My challenge now is getting them to look up from their phones, because they're silent when they get into the classroom, because they all just get to their seats, pop down. And this is all they're doing.
Yeah.
It's just this number right here. So, and it's funny though, because then, like, kids in our generation that grew up with that stuff, and now that we're adults, if we're doing anything even relatively creative, we're having to relearn. So, like, just try to stay on the tidal wave of social media as it evolves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just fucking absolutely crazy what's going on with all that. I mean, get into that later if you want, because it blows my fucking mind. But anyway,
No, I totally feel that.
so you're growing up, you're actually getting good grades. Let's dig in a little bit for that freshman year of high school when you ended up running away. If you don't mind me asking, what was like the catalyst for all that? How long were you out for? What was that experience like?
See, I'll go over my high school days, because it was only a year and a half. Because I got I won't jump ahead. I'll just say it's a year and a half, and then I went to college. Like, I turned my life around. But so that, I guess it started outside of 8th grade. After 8th grade, during the summer, I moved into Albuquerque High School District, because I was bouncing around from a lot of schools. So I went to Albuquerque High at first, and freshman year, I got like super into fitness and like developed like a body dysmorphia. So I would wake up at 3 a.m, work out for like 2 hours, go to school, and then go to football practice for like another couple hours, come home and like go to sleep. So I was just like, I was way too into like fitness, and like I was
How old were
skinny
you at
as-
that point?
I was 14 freshman year.
Yeah.
So I was just working out 24/7, and then I got to it, and I forget what was happening with my family. It was such a blur. All of freshman year, it was like I was like disassociated with life at that point. But I had like a mental breakdown. It was actually Halloween day. I went to go hang out with a friend for like the first time like that whole year, because I was just so like into fitness and like being strict on myself and like getting good grades and like just super good two-shoe, like not talking to anybody, just keeping to myself. And then that happened on Halloween night. I think we smoked a bunch too and drank, and like I just like shut down. It like I flipped the switch, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, why the hell am I trying so hard? Like, nothing matters anymore. Like, just totally, I got super depressed. And then I think a couple weeks after that, I ran away, just because I was tired of like just trying in life, and I just wanted to give up, but I didn't want to kill myself. So I was like, I'll just run away then and start like a new life. So I like caught a train, the Roadrunner. I was supposed to like hitchhike to Colorado, but I ended up going to a family member's house. It was Algodones, like right outside Bernalillo. And so I was staying there for like a while, a couple weeks. And then I forget how, but my mom found out somehow. And one day she just showed up and like, I was like, oh, fuck. Cause like I got too comfortable there. I never got to Colorado, which I guess is a blessing. I ended up just like hiding out in this spot. And then my mom found me. And then I went back with her, but I didn't go back to school. I would just like smoke all day and just sit in my room just I don't even remember what I would do. I just know I would like be at home smoking, and I was just super disassociated with life, and I wouldn't go to school or anything. Like I wouldn't do anything she said. I was just laying in bed like 24/7, just super effed up in my head. And then my brother was on probation, and so she took me to my brother's probation officer to try to find me help. But then I had a warrant out for my arrest that I didn't know about. So they ran me through the system, and we were just chilling, talking to the probation officer, and these cops bust in, start reading my Miranda rights, and arrest me on the spot. I was like, what the fuck did I do? Like, I didn't do anything. And like, I thought my mom set me up. I was so pissed off. Like, what, like, why am I being arrested? I didn't do anything. And so I was in jail for like a couple of days, and then I got out through my mom. But probation kind of saved me because I had to stop drugs and all that stuff. Because I wasn't doing drugs. I was just smoking weed 24/7 and not doing anything with my life.
What was the warrant for?
Shoplifting, like when I was in middle school. So it had been years. But like I was saying, we would bounce from house to house all the time. So what I think happened is that they sent the court date to an address that we were no longer at. And so it never got forwarded to where I was currently living. So I guess the warrant was out from that because it was years prior. It was like, it was a shoplifting warrant from like Target. And so I got out, I got on probation. I had to go back to school, obviously, because I was on probation and everything. But then I started like cutting really bad. Like I have a lot of scars now. You can't really see it because of all my tattoos. Like I tatted all over them. But that's like when I started cutting. And then after, I think I was okay the rest of the year. I was just super depressed. But then
how old are you at this point?
14 still. So around the winter time, I think we got homeless because I remember, it was after I came back from running away. We ended up being homeless for like almost the rest of the freshman year. And then that summer we finally found like a place because we're like in and out of homeless shelter. It was like for women's and kids. That's where I was at most of the time. And then that summer we finally found an apartment. And then that's kind of where I like found myself again. Like I stopped smoking as much. I started working out again because I quit working out, and I kind of was like getting my mind right all summer long. And that's all I remember for that most part. And then sophomore year started.
So can I pause you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So, because we've talked about it a lot in the podcast, and we've never actually had a guest on that's experienced it before. So I want to kind of dig in a little bit to that stint of time, if you don't mind, when you were homeless, because I've lived in Albuquerque my whole life. And I mean, I've been here my whole life. David, he's been here his whole life.
No, I haven't.
I thought you had.
No.
I thought you told me that.
I grew up in Taos.
Oh, that's okay. So New Mexico. Sorry. Yeah, New Mexico. So he's been in New Mexico. Like, we have two other roommates. They're off. One's a firefighter, one's an EMT. So they're off on shift right now.
Oh, nice.
But, I'd say all of our friend groups, and for like one or two people, are all born and bred in New Mexico. And, now that we're getting into our mid to late 20s, certainly post-COVID, we're watching this homeless problem, whether you're in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, like it does not matter where you are. And it's starting to affect the smaller towns like Taos, Roswell, Espanola, Artesia. It's spreading like crazy. So if you don't mind, I kind of want to dig into that a little bit, like your experience, because thankfully it wasn't a very long one. It wasn't short. But it wasn't like years and years and decades, like unfortunately, like a lot of people that do end up homeless. What led you guys to become homeless? Let's start there. Like what led that to, what led you guys to being homeless?
So basically, it was because like all freshman year, my brother was like on probation. I believe that was like the start of it because it was before I even got into the school year. He was on probation that summer, and then I think he was on probation like for the rest of the year. So they mandated that he had to be supervised like all the time. So my mom, like, we don't have any other family. Like I was saying, it was always just us three, like growing up all the time. And so there was no other one to supervise them. So she kept having to quit his job or her job to watch him. And then same thing with my probation. I'd be supervised because I was like suicidal in a sense. So then she got a job and then she had to quit again to watch me. And so, like I said, me and my brother, like all through growing up, put my mom through so much hell. And that's like also what drives me to grind harder, because one day I want to like pay that all back to her by getting her house, buying her car, all that stuff. But in a sense, she kept having to quit her job, so we'd always get evicted. And that's why I was bouncing around from house to house too, is because me and my brother would always get in a lot of trouble, and so we'd have to be watched, and there was no one else to watch us. So then,
what about the family? If you don't mind me asking, what about the family member you ended up running away to for a couple of weeks? If you don't mind me asking, who was that relative to you, and why was that no longer an option?
So in a sense, like, they wanted to help me, but they didn't want to help the family.
Right, from afar, right.
Yeah, so it was just because I came to them in a sense, but no one would ever come to help us. So it was just because I showed up.
Right.
But after that, after we got evicted from the last place, like, she just said, we're just gonna have to move in a homeless shelter. Like, I can't afford another place. And we left all our belongings. Like, we couldn't order a storage unit or anything. So we had to start from scratch. So like, I left all my gym equipment there, all our dressers, like our beds, literally everything. So we lost everything because we couldn't even, like, she couldn't afford a storage unit place for any of it. So we got to the shelter, but the only thing that sucked was no one could be there during the day. And so my mom was going through, I forget what it's called, a hysterectomy or something. She just had very bad internal bleeding. So she would be like,
well, the hysterectomy is what you have to get. It's what women get to remove like their uterus and stuff like that.
Yeah, because something was wrong with her uterus. So she was like constantly like bleeding out, so she couldn't work. So she would try. So like during the day, she'd literally just be like hanging out in the car, just like parked outside of Walmart, like, and just having to run in and out like of the bathroom because she was bleeding so much, like literally like fucking almost dying. So, and then me and my brother would be at school, and then she'd come get us, and then we go to the homeless shelter, and that's just kind of like how life was.
And there was no sort of anything even remotely resembling a healthcare option at the homeless shelter. Like, there was nothing there.
Like I said, I was very disassociated during this time, so there's not a whole lot I remember. I just know she's had a way stressful life, more than me and my brother growing up. Like, ever since she was a baby, she's like always had it like a really effed up lifestyle. And so it's just all this stress, like from her childhood, from her adulthood onto her kids, giving her that stress. She's always been like, her body's just under a lot of stress all the time, and like her mindset. So she's always just trying to push and push. And that's like what I adore about her, and kind of like where I got it from, is she never gives up. She's always trying to do more and more. But as far as long as the lines of like the healthcare thing, I think that they kept trying to help her. But that summer after my freshman year is when she got her surgery. It's just like, she couldn't get the surgery because there was so much other stuff going on. So she just kept thinking it would get better, but it came to the certain point that it wouldn't get better. So then that's where she finally decided just to like go on with the surgery.
Okay, I see. So, all right. So back to, okay. So in the mornings, you guys go to school. She has to go to a parking lot and basically have a bathroom accessible to her throughout the day. Waits for you guys to get out of school, gets you back to the homeless shelter. Let's go from picking you up, getting to the homeless shelter. Are you, because again, I'm very ignorant to all of this. My only real exposure to it, outside of a couple of things that I've read and interviews that I've seen online with actively homeless people, is like, I remember in the movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, where him and his kid, they get in line, and there's only a certain amount of beds, and they cut the line off at whenever the beds are full, and they're like, hey, everyone else in line, basically you got to go find somewhere else to go. Was that the same for you guys at the women, or because you said it was a homeless shelter specifically for women and kids, right?
Yeah. So she was able to reserve us like in advance. You have to submit for it. So before she was smart enough though, like to not like have us live in the minivan, you know what I mean? So she already knew we were going to be evicted and homeless. So she in a sense, was proactive about it and submitted us into that shelter before. So then as soon as like we had to transition from that apartment to there, and so we were set. It was like kind of like a set living, and then you would have to reapply like every month, I believe. So as long as you're not making X amount of income, you could still live there in a sense. But we shared a room. So like the way this shelter worked, I'm sure everything's different. Like the one you're mentioning from Pursuit of Happiness, I believe there probably is one downtown like that. Cause like you're saying, the pandemic of homelessness is horrible. So there probably is one like that downtown. But the one we lived at was like in the Heights. But basically we shared a room. There was 3 beds, and we each slept in our own. And then there was like 3 shower bathrooms throughout the whole facility. So there was like 20 rooms and like 3 bathrooms with a shower. So like you would just take turns showering or using the bathroom in a sense. And we all just had our own room. And then there was a kitchen where they'd feed us like dinner. And then on the weekends, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Cause on the weekends you could be there all day. It was just during the weekdays you couldn't be there. Okay. But that's kind of like how that situation worked with living there.
And did they like during the weeks, they just shut down during the day, like lock the doors, no one goes in, that type of thing?
Yeah. So we had to all be out by like a certain X amount of time, and then you could come back like at 4 p.m. or like 3 p.m. later in the day. It was just from like 8 to 3 or something like that. But I think it's in a sense because they didn't want you to be comfortable living there. Like it's to push you to go find a job or like go work in a sense like that. So
well, I would imagine too that like, you know, that's a part of it. And then also just because of the budgetary reasons, you know, you don't have to keep the lights on. You have to pay workers to be there. And because I would imagine there were workers and staff and stuff like that there. So definitely. If you can cut out 40 hours a week of pay, that saves the facility a ton of money. I think there was still
people there. That's when they would like clean the rooms and stuff, kind of like a hotel type style.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's usually what they were doing, like while we were away.
Interesting. Okay, so you guys are in that facility. You know, one of the stereotypes and one of the common conceptions about homelessness is it's always reduced down to alcohol, drugs, mental illness every single time. And I thought like that for a very long time until Rogan did an interview with the mayor of Austin. Really great episodes, only like an hour and a half. But they talk a lot about, because at the time, because of COVID, they were going through a huge homeless problem in Austin. And it never got to, because Austin's exploded, but it hasn't become, like, their homeless issue never got as bad as, like, really here, or even like places certain like LA, Chicago, stuff like that. But what they were talking about was, you know, it's not, most of these cases that they were experiencing, it's not actually mental illness, drug problems, alcohol problems, stuff like that. It's life issues and people that either cannot or choose not to react properly, or just the circumstances don't allow them to. And it's like they were talking about, okay, so you have your standard family of 3, a mom, dad, and a kid. Dad has a stable job, relying on that. Mom's able to stay home, whatever. They have a small savings. They have a car, small house, apartment, whatever it is. Dad gets laid off, either can't get unemployment or the unemployment is very low, can't get another job. And then it's like, oh shit, okay, medical issue comes up. $500 car bill comes up on top of the payment they're already making, right? Yeah. And it's a bill that if they don't do this, the car doesn't work. So now, even if you want to go get another job, you can't. Wife can't get another job because they don't have transport. Then it's like, okay, a medical bill comes up. Okay, a housing issue comes up if they own their house. Now, because there's no income, can't afford to pay any of those bills. Now they start like triaging those problems. It's like, all right, are we going to pay a medical bill? Are we going to pay a housing bill? Are we going to pay the car bill? But no matter what they decide, one of them they're going to end up losing one of those things. Exactly. And then, because frankly, this is the world we live in, statistically speaking, the woman in the situation has more options than the man, whether that's finding a friend to live with, whether that's finding another partner, whether that's going back with their family. Because statistically, women have better connections with their family than men. So the wife can end up leaving the husband, going to live with their mom, their sister, a new boyfriend, whatever the fuck it is, to get themselves out of that situation. So at the end of the day, you know, those moms, a lot like your mom, want to keep their kids fed and housed. And they'll do just about anything to do that, to get that accomplished. So they go out and do that. Now the guy's on his own. no, and even provided that they make it, right? So they don't get to be homeless, thankfully. But now you still got the guy. Now he's divorced. Now he has no house. He has no car. Maybe he had the medical issue, whatever it is. Even if he doesn't get into alcohol and drugs, homeless.
Exactly.
And it's this like tumbling, this domino effect of issues. And yeah, you and your brother were getting into trouble and so on and so forth. But, it wasn't like, at least from what you're telling me, it wasn't like there was a hard meth, heroin, booze addiction at the center of all this. It was life fucking happens.
Exactly.
And that's what led you into that situation. So you're in that situation for, you said 6 months. That's that back half of freshman.
Yeah.
So what ended up pulling you guys out of the homeless situation and back into did you go directly into a proper housing? What ended up happening?
So actually, it was kind of a blessing that I was on probation, because my probation officer like helped us get a new place and get
awesome.
like furniture and stuff, because she was my brother's probation officer before, and then she was my probation officer. So we were like close with her in that sense. And she knew just like all the crap we were going through, and that me and my brother weren't really like bad people. We're living in a messed up situation. Yeah. And so she was very understanding with that. And then so she helped us, like, I think we're on Section 8 or one of those housing things. And
I think it's called Section 8.
And then we ended up moving like on the west side. And so to continue on with my story, so I got my stuff together. I was doing good. My brother was doing good. And then sophomore year happened, and we got into drug dealing, me and my brother. And so...
What led you into that? Before we go any further, what led you into getting into that?
So we would sell in middle school, and then when we moved freshman year, like my brother was going through all his crap, and like it was more of like me and him doing it. So I stopped because he stopped, and he kind of like went on a wild tangent where he was like never home and partying all the time, and just like, actually I think he got expelled freshman year too. So he was the first one to get expelled because he was just... He didn't want to go to... He kind of had a breakdown like I did, which is funny because he was making straight A's, like doing really good in school. And one day he just switched. He's like, why the hell am I doing this? Like, I'm not happy with my life, like being the good kid anymore. Like, I want to have fun. Like, I'm tired of like following the rules and just like living in this like operation of a life. And so
the grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah. So, we were drug dealing like early on from like middle school, but it was nothing as huge as sophomore year. Because sophomore year, I like... started getting into it, and he helped me, and then just it happened so fast because I have like a very strong mindset where if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all out. I'm not going to like half-ass it. So we started sophomore year, drug dealing here and there, just getting in normal trouble, nothing serious, just normal kid stuff. And then after winter break, that's like when everything went down that year. Like that year was really rough. So after winter break, a couple weeks passed. This is like January. I think I get expelled in February because they kept catching on to me because I was stupid. I would like... During lunch, I'd be in and out of so many people's cars. I'd be like in and out of the bathroom doing it like throughout the day.
The administration is starting to see your movement pattern.
That's where most of my business was. And what's funny is that's why I went to school, is because all my customers are at school. So I literally have like a couple ounces in my backpack in little baggies, and I just be in and out of the bathroom. Like through each period, they're like, why is this kid always going to different bathrooms? And I had codes. So there was like...
This guy's got the worst IBS we have ever fucking heard of.
Exactly. So each bathroom, like I had a name for, I was like, meet me at the because it was Albuquerque Bulldog. So I was like, meet me at the Bulldog, or like meet me at this so-and-so bathroom. So I had code names for each bathroom. And then like certain spots of the parking lot, I was like, park in slot A. Like I had different names for like different parts of the parking lot. So I was very business minded with everything, like code and shit. And I even had like a second phone where I do all my business on.
And fucking burner phone at what, the age 16 you had a burner?
I was 15.
15?
Yeah, at this time. Because my birthday is in May. So then I turned 15 like right before sophomore year. And then my brother was drug dealing at his, because he went to a separate school because he got expelled from like APS. So then he started going to charter schools. And then so I was in APS, still at Albuquerque High. But I was just going so all out on it, and then they caught along, and then they expelled me February. It was either at the beginning of February or the end of January. So they expelled me, and then
on the grounds of
drug dealing and
Dealing?
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but they never found it. Like, cause I was always late. I was tardy all the time and I was ditching school. So like, in a sense, I blame it on drug dealing because that influenced a lot of why all that was going down, but they never actually caught me. So I was never charged. It's
on paper it was your attendance, but what was hindering your attendance was the dealing.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
So, cause they always tried catching me, but like I low key like had it in my underwear and stuff, or like I would have weird stash spots and stuff like in my backpack where they couldn't find it. And so I never actually got caught. So I never got charged or anything like that. Thank God. Cause that would have been a big like felony with how much stuff I had. So, anyway, and so I was also doing pills too. So I was like, I sell ecstasy and Molly because I met this dude and he's like kind of the one who brought me onto it. So I had like a mentor with drug dealing. My brother didn't. My brother was kind of like under me with the drug dealing because I had like
You were a part of a fucking pyramid scheme of weed, weren't you?
pretty much. And so anyway, so I got expelled from APS. And then I went to a charter school. In less than like not even 2 months, I got expelled from charter school for selling for the same exact thing. But that time it was selling because someone snitched on me because charter schools are small. There's like 100 kids there.
Which one did you go to? Just out of curiosity.
Health Leadership High School. It's right in front of the airport, like on Yale and Gibson.
Oh shit!
Yeah, there's so many charter schools
Yeah,
because
there's a
my
fuck
brother went to Data. Have you heard of that one? Digital Arts Academy.
Fuck yeah, dude! Dom went to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So was that the one that's like in a strip mall?
Yeah, it's right across from the cemetery. I think it's like Manal and I-25.
Maybe that's not the one I'm thinking about. No, Data. Okay, so I had a different friend who went to that, but our a mutual friend of ours went to this like private charter school thing that was in a strip mall over by Taylor Ranch.
Okay,
And-
that's a different one.
Yeah, it was over in Taylor Ranch, and it's shut down now. Like I guess the principal was like stealing all the fucking money, and
I bet.
and I guess they actually caught him like blowing it all. I think it like something stupid like knockouts or some shit.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah,
Because it's like kind of like a private council, your private income.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
APS is all Albuquerque tax money, but like charter schools are like
it's a
private
business.
operated.
It's a legitimate business, right?
Yeah,
Well,
so-
legitimate, but it's a fucking business there to make money, right?
Exactly. So yeah, he went to Data. And so I got expelled from APS, and then I got expelled from that charter school for drug dealing, and then we got expelled the same week, believe it or not. When I got expelled from my charter school, a couple days after, he got expelled from his charter school. And my mom just broke down. She's like, what the fuck is happening with my kids? And when they called her, I wasn't with her, but she told me the story. Like when they called her that he was expelled, she's like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like my other kid just got expelled like 2 days ago. And now this other kid, my other son's being expelled. So like, it was for drug dealing again. And I felt so bad for my brother because he was a senior. So he had to finish high school doing online classes, and they wouldn't even let him go to the ceremony just because of the circumstances. So
Right.
he was only like a couple months away from graduating. He got expelled, but they worked something out where he could still get his diploma just because it was like so close to the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so after that, I was into fitness again, working out like 6 days a week. And so, all I was doing after I got expelled was working out and selling drugs. That was like my life, and then going out like occasionally with friends. But I was never like a party person at all. Like my whole life, I would never like go clubbing or go partying or like any of that stuff. It was usually just like friendly interactions with like a homie just at a house or like driving around, go to a spot somewhere. So, and then in May 20th was the day like my life changed for eternity. So I got expelled in March, I think, or it was April. And then May 20th, I got shot in my stomach, and that like completely changed my life around. It was just a drug deal gone bad. Like I got set up. And so I got shot. And I could go over the story briefly, but basically like
Yeah,
I was laying there like dying. And I was debating whether to call the cops or not because of how fucked up my life has been and I'm 15. No, I turned 16 at that point because my birthday's in May. So it was a week after my birthday. I just turned 16. I'm laying there like fucking bleeding out. And I'm looking up at the sky. I'm like I have to save myself at that point because everyone like scattered, you know what I mean? I'm laying there like fucking bleeding out. And I remember like questioning it, whether to save my life or not. And I was like, I thought about it and something just told me, like, I like automatically, like, I don't even really remember much of like pursuing it, but like, I like automatically just dialed 911 and like told him like, I'm shot, like I'm here, can you come save me type shit. And I remember like 2 cops rolled up with like AR-15s. It took them a while to get to me though, because it was obviously like a secretive spot. And so they rolled up, and the recollection of that night is that they put me on the stretcher, and you know how they say you see the light like when you're dying? It was real in a sense to me, but I think it's just because of the back of the ambulance is super bright. You have all the lights in the back of the ambulance. So like, I feel like that was me seeing the light. Like I died a little bit, but I don't think I actually saw the light. It was just the lights in the ambulance. But I just remember the drive over there, like them putting a bunch of needles and shit, trying to analyze me. And then the last thing I remember is getting out of the ambulance, and like I was freezing. I was like shaking because obviously you have to strip all your clothes down when you get back in the ambulance. And so I just remember going down the hallway throwing up, and like it kind of reminded me of like Grey's Anatomy type shit, like those shows where you have like 20 doctors around you willing it in. It was kind of like out of a movie type shit. So, and then I'm pretty sure what do you call it when they make you pass out or whatever? They inject you with some stuff. So I just passed out.
They put you under general anesthesia?
Yeah, something like that. Because all I remember is going down the hall, all these doctors like yelling at each other, trying to like save my life. And then I just remember waking up in the ICU with like all these tubes. Like I'm literally like cuffed to the bed so I don't rip out anything because I'm not conscious. You know what I mean? So that's what they have to do with patients when you have so much stuff going on. They tie you down to the bed because they don't want you to like scratch something or like pull something out because you're not conscious. You're under all these medications and stuff, so you're not really there. But I remember waking up and just looking around and seeing all this shit. But the only things I really remember while I was in ICU, because I was in there for like 7 days, and then I was in. Do
you remember if there was an exit wound when you got shot?
Yeah, so it was right by my spine. So I could have been like paralyzed, and I had like spine nerve damage. I had weird tingling sensations for like a couple months after that when I'd lay down and stuff, just because it was so close to my nerves. I could probably show you later, but yeah, it's like right back here.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, okay, well, he got shot in the gut. Where's he going to exit? This guy,
yeah, so
how close did he get to fucking being paralyzed?
And I have the documentation too, because they had to remove my gallbladder. It hit my kidney. It hit my colon. It hit like all kinds of shit, right? So I was like super fucked. That's why I was in ICU for 7 days, because you get shot in the arm, it's your arm. But like you get shot in your stomach, like you have so many vital organs and like so many things going on in your core area of your body. And so the recollections I remember is I would wake up, and the most thing I remember is waking up and seeing my mom, and like I started crying because I just felt so fucking bad that like all the shit I put her through up until that point. And I remember I kept trying to say sorry to her, but I had a tube in my mouth. I couldn't speak, and I just kept trying to say I'm sorry. And like I just remember crying and like telling her that, and then I would wake up, see like my brother, wake up, see someone else, like, because at that point like my mom's mom came and my mom's sister came because she was kind of talking to them around that time. So I just remember waking up and like seeing a family member and then passing back out. Jesus. And then I had to learn how to walk again and all that shit. And like I was just like super skinny too, because I couldn't eat for like a week and a half, and they were like doing the sponge water on my mouth because I couldn't even drink water for like the same amount of time or something like that. And I'll just say it now. So like, you know what an ostomy bag is?
This is where you shit into a bag, right?
Yeah. So I was on that for 6 months. So I had to go. Yeah. It was the most like.
I was going to say, because you said you got shot in the colon.
Yeah. So
or at least it hit your colon.
Yeah. So it fucked up my colon. And I have like the scar right here too. But I had to temporarily be on it for 6 months. And that was like super degrading. Like I was super insecure. It was like the worst time of my life. Like I didn't want to see anyone, just because I didn't want anyone to know like what I was going through with that. And so like that.
How do you adjust your life to that? Because that's not a very common thing that people go through. Like, so how do you adjust to that?
It's just like life. You adjust to anything in life. Like if life fucking throws you down, you just have to get back up and keep walking. So I just had to learn how to like clean it and like deal with it. And okay, well, so the positive out of all that though is, so I got out of the hospital. I was supposed to go to summer school that summer and like catch up on high school, but I was like, fuck this, like fuck high school, it's all bullshit. Like I'm just gonna get into more shit. Like I don't trust myself going back. So then I decided to get my GED in July. I got shot in May, so I got my GED in July, and then I started going to college in September. So I totally turned my life around. Like I want to be a better person, like get my shit straight, like go to college, get a good job, all that. So from 16 to 17, I went to fall and spring term. So during the fall term, though, I had that ostomy bag like the whole time. And I went for exercise science because I've always been a fitness like my whole life. So I wanted to be like a trainer and like.
So you're going to CNN at this point?
Yeah, CNN, okay. Full-time student. And I was on the dean's list. I got 3.71 GPA. I was like super good in school again. Like I said, school isn't hard at all. It's just.
So I want to hear the rest of this, but I do kind of want to go back. So you get out of the hospital, you're shit in a bag.
Yeah.
You're learning how to walk again. Your life was literally inches away from either A, being half of what it was, doing paralyzation, or it was almost over if you didn't call the cops, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting out of the hospital because obviously, yes, you decided to get your GED. You realize high school is not a good environment for you. You get your GED and you're going to college. In making those decisions, like maybe it was a religious experience for you. Maybe it was a come to Jesus moment, or what thoughts were you having and the time, like looking back on it, what thoughts were you having where it's like, okay, my life almost, because again, you're not even 18 yet.
Yeah, I just turned 16.
Yeah, so your brain is not even close to being fully formed. You're figuring out, like any normal 15, 16-year-old at that point is figuring out how their dick works.
Yeah.
Like you are not even anywhere close to being a self-sustaining adult. So you have this life-changing event. What was your thought process? And like, all right, I've got to get my shit together now, or it's not going to get any better. And I know what it looks like when it gets worse. Like what was that thought process?
So it was a blessing because like down the path I was going, I was either going to be in prison for life or I was going to get killed. Like I knew, like I was mature enough to know that like the lifestyle I was living was like not ideal at all. It's just like I was drug dealing before I could even work, you know what I mean? So like I guess I could have got a job if I was older to make my money, but like when I started dealing, it was in middle school, and then it just got really bad when I turned 15. So I mean, I guess I could have worked, but I was already in that bad lifestyle. It was just like right there and open to me to get into. So I decided to pursue that. But it was a blessing to get shot at a young age that I did, because I could have still been like going down that path today, because I was like going in it so fast, like from 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 1 pound, 2 pound, 3 pounds. Like I was just getting way out of hand very quickly. So at the rate that I was going, I definitely would have got killed or like been arrested and went to prison. So like, it sucks to say, but in a way, I'm like glad I got shot. I'm glad that's like the decision God made for me. And that's like why I got a second chance at life. And that's why I kind of saw life completely differently. Like life is so valuable. And I have another life death experience at 19. I got ran over and like broke a bunch of bones. So we'll get into that later. Like I said, life is pretty wild, but I had 2 new death experiences.
Yeah, life is kind of wild, dude.
Yeah, but
Jesus.
So anyway, so that was like a second chance at life. So I wanted to renew myself. And that's kind of like after getting shot, I came up with Unyk Nyko, that name, because I wanted to be a unique person. And like I feel like I always was unique, but like after getting shot, like it made me realize who I was and what I want to do with my life and like the person that I am, because I couldn't do anything. Like I was just going to college and then coming home. Like I would work out still, just because like I was honestly working out helped me while I was drug dealing, because when I got shot, like they said, oh, you're very healthy. Like you eat good, you work out a lot. Like it's going to be a speedy recovery. So like that's what helped me recover so quickly, is because I was already.
That is something people need to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
That is great that they could articulate that to you.
Because you never know what, hey, what's in the camera. Eat healthy, work out. It'll save you in the long run. Because like tomorrow you might get in a car wreck and your body's fucked. And like,
well, let's be real. It's Albuquerque. Tomorrow you could get shot.
Exactly.
That is a real, you don't have to be doing drugs. You don't have to be about that life to get shot here in Albuquerque. You can be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I think that's a very good message people need to hear. Like, You don't have to be eating right, training just to look good, to be an athlete, to whatever it is. Like, that is how you maintain your body.
Exactly.
Fueling it properly, putting it. Now, I also understand that I've been drinking scotch for the last 30 minutes, but guess what? That's my vice.
Yeah.
Scotch and tobacco. But, keeping a good diet, keeping a good workout routine, it can literally save your life.
Well,
like you just explained.
Even with getting older too, like as you get older, that shit's gonna catch up to you because people are like, "Oh, I feel fine." Like genetically, people are blessed with great bodies, but if you're born with a great body, you still need to take care of yourself because, like,
you maintain it.
Yeah, it's not just about looks; it's about health and being proactive with your lifestyle early on. Because as you get older, it's definitely going to get harder into because your body is breaking down. Like, you're getting older, your joints, your muscles are not as strong as you can, and you have to develop that foundation because you can't just get into workout one day when you're 30 and like just have a beautiful foundation. Like, it's going to take years and months and all that stuff to really build yourself up to make that a habit of, and it's doable. Like, anything in life is doable. It's never too late to start working out. It's never too late to start eating healthy. If you want to go be a pilot at 30, like, nothing's stopping you, like, in life. So, but being healthy is definitely a benefit in the long run because you still look good. You're still going to need to be healthy, whether you're 12 years old or you're 50 years old.
So before we get into you end up getting a GED and you get into college, you mentioned a little bit, excuse me, you mentioned that, and it's not surprising, but that you started out small and you begin dealing more and more and more and more. What was your first experience dealing like?
Just baby stuff, like just selling to friends and stuff, like nothing serious. And then it wasn't until I met my mentor. I met him, which is funny, at Albuquerque High. He was like 26. He was like 10 years older than me, I think. He was there because he does graffiti, and he was talking to an art teacher there, and he just said what's up to me and asked if I sold weed, but he was really initiating me under his belt. So he was seeing if I sold weed. So I sold him weed, acting like he was a customer, and then we got cool, and then he started telling me that he was actually a big drug dealer. And so then that's where he started mentoring me and like showing me like how to sell drugs and how to do this and that. And so he kindly got me into that. And it's funny, I still run into him to this day. Like, we're still cool. I still have his number and everything. Actually, I ran into him like at Electric Playhouse like the other day. He's doing way better now too, which is cool because he's in real estate. Like, he's trying to build his own business. Like, me and him both got out of the game, thank God. Because when I got out of the game after I got shot, I kept telling him like, man, you should really think about getting out of the game. Like, I don't want you to get shot either. I don't want you to go to president. Like, you're my day one homie. Like, you taught me all this, but like, for your best, or both our best interest in mind, like, use this as like a lesson, like what I went through. Like, I don't want you going through that same shit. But kind of back to your question, that's kind of how it started, was just selling to friends. And then I met him, and he was kind of just opened the doors for me to that whole lifestyle. And that's kind of like just how it escalated so quickly, because I had that mentor and I had someone above me to kind of show me how to gravitate more towards that lifestyle.
So what I'm curious about socially in this situation is, so you become friends with someone, he's showing you how to do these illegal activities. These illegal activities get you shot. If you don't mind me asking, what inside you thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to get out of doing this lifestyle, but I still want to be friends with this person? Did you ever have that thought where it was like a lot of people, like, when they have a traumatic experience like that, they're looking for, okay, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Where did this come from? Like, could I have prevented this? Oh, I should never gotten fucking did this in the first place. And did you ever think that, like, did it ever like cross your mind as like, oh fuck, well, I'm going to get out of this. I'm not going to talk to anyone that's associated with this. Like, did that ever thought cross your mind? Or like, what was it that kept that friendship that you wanted to keep? What was it in you that wanted to keep having that friendship going, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, basically, so I never had a dad growing up, so I saw him as a male figure because, like, he was 10 years older than me, right? So he actually got me into healthy stuff too. Like, believe it or not, he worked out too. Like, he ate organically. Like, he had his own apartment. Like, he was a good dude. And that's like,
all right. So here's how you deal, but then also here's how you hit your macros, bro.
yeah, exactly. So we were very alike with that because we were very healthy people, and he would eat organic food all the time. And like, we'd go to Whole Foods with our drug buddy, and we'd be like buying organic stuff.
You hear that, you fucks up in Tanawan? You're not that special.
Yeah.
We can go up there too, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because they would always watch us because the way we dressed and looked, they thought we were gonna steal, and we're blowing like $300 on organic food, like with our drug buddies.
Okay, so how? Okay, so you're like 15 at this point, right? 15,
Yeah.
16. How tatted up were you at that point?
How what?
How tatted up were you at that point?
Oh, I just didn't start till 19.
No shit.
So
okay,
that's
so
a whole
you were
other
still-
story, though.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you move on. That's fucking hilarious, dude. Fucking Whole Foods.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you go and you're out of the hospital. You're recovering. You get your GED, and then you get into CNM. What made you? What? So you're course correcting, obviously. What was college obvious to you, or like was it always something you wanted to do? It was like, well, people have their shit together, go to college, so I'm gonna go to college.
Well, I was into fitness like early growing up. Like, I did basketball, soccer, football, and my mom was into fitness too. So she had like a couple like little bit of equipment at home that like I would use. And then working out, honestly, it was kind of for me and my homies. Like, growing up, we wanted girls, so we're like, we need a six pack and muscles.
Right.
So like, we would work out, and that's kind of like how it started too. But I was always like very into fitness and like I wanted to help other people like be healthier and like show them the right way, because I've been researching fitness like since I was like 14, so I know a lot about like everything. And actually, I have my own home gym now that I've spent like over 10 grand on. So I have like, it's called a G6, I forget, but it's like a Smith machine, cables on each side, and a squat rack and a pull-up bar, and you could attach a leg press, you could attach dip bars, you could attach all this shit
Can
to
you
it.
fucking find this, please?
I forget. What's the brand called? Just look up G6.
Like home gym?
Yeah, home gym.
No shit.
Fuck, I forget the brand.
Taurus?
So let me see.
I'll put it up there.
Oh, okay.
We're looking up the workout equipment here, folks. That's so you can do a whole lot of different shit on this thing.
Yeah, and that's
Sounds
actually
like.
the best. I did so much research, so actually it's good for. Oh, it won't be Amazon.
But is that kind of what it is?
No,
No, because he's talking about how you can like attach a leg press to it and
It's not
shit.
leg press.
no. Watch. Just look up G6
Yeah, let's see.
home
That shit's 3G.
cable machine or something like that. Fuck, I wish I knew what it was called, because yeah, it's really dope, and I did a lot of research for it, but this was like a year ago, so I really do not remember. But
Oh, I think it's this one.
yes, that's what I bought. Yeah, 4K.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and it's funny because it's a G6, but yeah, Force USA, exactly. But that's exactly the machine I have. See, so
I want it.
go watch,
Yeah.
scroll down to the attachments and everything like that.
Oh,
It's more down. Those are the upgrades, but look up. Oh, keep scrolling down because they'll say everything that it comes with. So that's like what it is, and then
Oh shit!
it literally has everything though. So it's like a all-in-one thing because you can. I even have all your bumper plates on the sides there and everything. But yeah, it's an all-in-one trainer, literally, and like you buy it, and it comes with literally like everything, so you don't have to buy any extra.
Whoa,
stuff.
whoa, whoa, go up.
So you
Okay,
get
so
this
the
shit-
Smith machine is this on the live stream too? Okay, so the Smith machine station is rated up to 772 pounds and includes a fixed barbell for use with Olympic weight. No shit.
So all I had to buy was a barbell, and that was it. It came with like everything else,
Right.
and a barbell for the squat rack because the Smith machine is already attached.
Right.
That bar for it.
Right. Yeah. You somebody just want to do deadlifts, some free weight squats or barbell squat, I guess.
Yeah, there's
No
literally everything,
fucking
and it comes with all the attachments too, all the pulley cables and everything. So it's a definitely all-in-one. And like I said, I did hella research, and there's different types of ones too, because there's like G9, G12, and there's like, well, actually scroll up, go to shop now.
I saw that watch.
It was like a G12. The G12 like has everything in it.
That's a G20.
More. Oh shit.
Yeah, see, that
What
one's
the
$6,000.
fuck?
So that one's like has way more to it. Just being one person though, like I live in a small ass, well, not a small ass, but I live in a apartment. So it's not like I could get that big of a one. So the G6, the one that I got, was like super ideal.
The fact that G6 fits in an apartment is kind of mind blowing to me.
Yeah. And like, that's how it's always been. My living room has always been a gym. So I don't watch TV, no Netflix, no video games. Like, I don't really have an entertainment center. So my living room has always just been a space for like a gym. And I've slowly just been like leading up to that point to like.
Bet your neighbors love you, huh? Fucking slamming those weights around.
Well, you know what's funny is I'm blessed in a way because my neighbors are like crackheads, like literal crackheads. Like I know they do crack because they've talked to me a couple times and they're like, they're twitchy and just the way they look, you know, they do crack. You know what I mean? So like they have their bullshit and I have my bullshit. So we don't even care about each other. Like they're going to do their stuff.
They smoke crack. I get jacked. I don't know what the fucking issue is here.
That's a good motto. Don't smoke crack, get jacked. I like that.
Holy shit. All right. So you go to college, doing exercise science. When do you start? Because this is at 16. You're going to C&M. When do you start? Because I'd imagine you moved out before you start your brand, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was living on my own at that point. And so I'm trying to find a video of my gym. This is literally how it shipped okay. So that is the space, but they literally shipped it like that's the machine. I had to build it. But it came in literally like a crate, like on a semi truck. They delivered it in a freaking semi truck. That's like,
and they just gave you the fucking pallet.
yeah. And I had to carry it. Well, I lived with my ex-girlfriend at the time, so she helped me build it. Thank God, because there was no way I would have built out on my own. But watch here. I think I have the video of the semi truck. Yeah. See.
That's killer.
That's like how I got delivered. That's when you know you're flexing when your gym equipment comes on a semi truck, like in a little ass like complex.
That's hilarious. So what? I'm always curious about this. So what encouraged you to start building the home gym stuff rather than just going to a gym in general?
Growing up, I was too. Well, it's funny because it started. Man, I wish I have it somewhere, a video of like the completed setup because it came out super nice. But it mainly came from being too young to be in a gym, like, and then not having money to go to the gym. So like from early on, like as far as 14, I was buying equipment from like Walmart and then the fitness superstore. So as I got older, I just got super comfortable with having a home gym and like not needing to go anywhere because, you know, you hear the stories of like, oh, he took my equipment, or like, I like that I could use the bathroom in the middle of working out, or like I could blast my own music as loud as I want. Like I could go from this machine to this machine, like super setting, and like no one's going to take my equipment. So I kind of just got comfortable with it. Like, I've honestly never been to a commercial gym to this day. I'm slowly trying to like link up with homies to go because I want to film content. That's like mainly want to go and like create like some cool gym reels. That's like what I want to go do. And there are benefits to commercial gyms. Well, there's pros and cons to everything in life, but it's mainly just because I got super comfortable from working out from home and it's just super convenient. So that's kind of like why I stayed during that, because I got my office, my computer set up right there. I got my gym, my shower, my bed. Like I don't have to go anywhere. Like and what's nice is like if I get a business call while I'm working out, I could just hop on my computer real quick if they need something urgent or like go over something quick. Like I don't have to like be like, wait, I got to go home. Or like when I'm exporting a video, I could keep an eye on it while it's exporting while I'm like working out, just in case something happens. I like just keep an eye on it. So everything's like in one place for me.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's the setup right there, especially being an entrepreneur, having your own business. Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Good. I mean, that's one of my goals, get so fucking rich I have a home gym.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Have a state-of-the-art home gym and be rich enough to do steroids safely. That is the goal.
Getting there.
So you are going, so when do you move out for the first time on your own? Or like, when are you on your own during this college period? And what was that like being independent at such a young age?
So, well, I didn't move out till I was like 18. Okay. I was in college for spring and fall, or fall and spring, and then I didn't have a car, and I just turned 17 at the end of spring. And so I was like, I need a car. I'm not getting paid because I'm going to college. I had tuition money, but that wasn't enough. And I wanted to move out when I was 18. So I was like, damn, I need to get my racks up. And like, my mom has a master's degree, but she never used it her whole life. So
Whoa. What was her master's degree?
Family studies or something like that. Or actually, was it bachelor or master's?
A degree, though.
I don't want to discredit her, so I'm going to say master's, because if I say bachelor's, I feel like that's like dishonoring her.
Yeah,
but
so she has a college degree.
Yeah, but she never used it, and I feel like a lot of people in life will get a degree, and like when you get jobs, they don't even care enough to check your credentials anymore. So like
they hardly ever, well, especially now in post-COVID, where everyone's just like, I would say in the sub $25 an hour range, everyone's hiring everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have a degree, if you don't have a degree, are you smart enough to be teachable?
Exactly.
Like, I think that is the most marketable skill. How teachable are you? Because if you could teach anyone to do just about damn near any of your job, especially like in an office.
Yeah.
You know.
But so my mom never used her degree, and I was turned 17 at that point. I'm like, I don't want to waste all these. Well, which is dope is I could have had associate's degree by the age of 18, like that one movie where that kid goes to college or something and he's like super young.
Good Will Hunting,
something like that. Yeah. So I was like, I could have gone down that path, but I was like, I'm only 17. I don't know if this is really what I want to do in my life. And I kind of just jumped into it because I didn't want to go back to high school, and that's like what I set my mind on. But I was like, I'm only 17. Like, I still like need to explore the world and explore myself. And like from an age early on, like as far back as elementary school, I always wanted to be a musician, and I always wanted to do my own clothing brand. Those are like always my life goals growing up in life. And so I became a musician at 19, but that's later on. And then 20 is like when I started my clothing brand and my company and all that. So at that point, at 17, I got my first job at Wendy's, and I fell in love with the money because I was like, damn, this is nice. I don't have to worry about getting shot. I don't have to worry about getting killed. I just cook fries and burgers and I'm chilling. Like, this is so cool. Like getting paid like as a civilian, because before I was only making money drug dealing, and it was stressful every day. Every time you're out to do a deal, you're like, am I going to get shot? Am I going to get set up? Am I going to get arrested? Like, I don't live that lifestyle. It's horrible. Get a job, do right. But so I got a job at Wendy's, and then I started working at Domino's, and I started working at Blake. So I was working 3 jobs for almost a year, just like basically balling out at a smaller scale because that's all I could get. Because I tried like bigger box retail stores like Sears, like mall jobs, but no one would hire me because I didn't have experience. So I was like, well, how do I get experience if you guys won't freaking hire me? So fast food, they don't give a shit if you don't have experience. So then that I hated fast food, but I just had to start somewhere making money and building my resume. So all through 17, pretty much, I was working 3 jobs. I bought my first car, which is that car, believe it or not. I still have my very first car. So that was my dream car, was a Chrysler 300, because you know Rolls Royces?
Yeah.
So when I was in 5th grade, the girl I was dating at the time, her mom drove a 300. I'm like, that's my dream car. Like, I love that car. It looks like a Rolls Royce. Like, I want to get that car. So like from all these years, I was like, I want to buy a 300 when I grow up. So I got my dream car, and I still have that baby to this day. It's been like 5 years now. I've had that car. It's only like 112,000 miles too, believe it or not. So like I could still have it for another 5 years and still be okay. So I'll ride that car until like it's gone. But anyway, and I've been through a lot of shit with that car too. Like, I've never actually wrecked. I've just ran into a shit stupidly. And like one story I'll have with the car is I was a delivery driver, right? Later on. And you know the gates that close for the apartments?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so you already know. I hit the gate. A car went in, and I'm delivery driving. So I'm like, I need to deliver this shit and get out. And so I didn't want to stop, type it in, and then go in. So I like, and then it was closing, and it sideswiped. I still have the marks on that car. So it knocked off my side mirror, scraped the shit out of my side door, like messed up this lining on my tire. And like my whole side mirror was like hanging off, right? And it broke the gate. The gate like just stayed open, and it was broken for like so many weeks after that because I would deliver to the same apartment. So I was like, fuck you, gate. Like, fucked up my car. And what's funny is I just went back to Pizza Hut where I was working out. I duct taped that shit and just worked the rest of the night. But then I had to like get my side mirror fixed. And then another time I fell asleep driving like twice before. One of them was really bad though. So I was fighting with my girlfriend at the time at a party. She went home. I was waiting out there and it was already about to be 6 a.m. So I'm going to go buy her flowers at Walmart, right? So I drive away. I'm like buzzed.
He's a romantic, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, tired as shit. I go buy flowers and like chocolate to make shit right with her. And I was driving into her complex and there's this turn, right? It goes like that. And there's this big field right here. So I was driving forward and just for those few seconds, I like nodded off. And I hopped the curb. I drove down. There was this fence barrier. I drove straight through the fence barrier. And like there was this brick wall where a house was. And I was probably like this desk away from hitting a brick wall, like straight on into somebody's house. Because I woke up. I'm like, what the fuck? And I slam on the brakes. And like I'm just like that close to a house, to a brick wall. And I get out of my car and I just start crying because that whole night's horrible. Like I just fucked up my car now. Like my girlfriend at the time is mad at me. Like
you fucked up this car.
Yeah. So
damn, them motherfuckers still rolling.
Yeah, it's been through a lot. Like, and that's why I like it. It looks like the Batman. It's thick. You know what I mean? It's a thick boy. So it's tough. And it's a '05. So it's not like plastic like the newer cars are. Well, no, I lied. That one's probably plastic too, but it's still tough.
I was waiting for David. David's my car guy, dude. Like I don't know shit about cars. Anything more than hey, you need an oil change. I get a real man to look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this dude helped me change out my fucking spark plugs. What was it called? The ignition coils. We changed out too, right? Changed out the ignition coil. Changed out the O2 sensor. This motherfucker helped me out with everything. So
yeah, with me though, like I pimped out most of my cars. So I tell people I know how to pimp out a car, but I don't know how to fix one. So like all the decals I did myself and like the spikes on the top and like the things on the hood. The only thing I didn't do was my spoiler because you needed drill bits for that. So
right.
I had a homie to help me with that. But actually when I have neon lights under my car too, the whole rainbow thing going on under my car.
Actually, can you put this in when you're just done? Thanks, man.
Thankfully, though, my mom was working at a shop at the time and she was cool with them. So the shop owner let me lift up my car in a bay. So I was able to like install my lights myself. And he said you could use whatever tools you want and stuff.
That's sick.
Yeah. So it was dope that I got the opportunity because trying to install lights like that, like being laying down under your car, it would have been a nightmare. So I was able to actually get up in there in a bay. So that helped a lot.
That's awesome.
But so backtracking, where were we at? So I was working the 3 jobs and then midway through like 18, I moved out on my own. And actually I moved with my ex at the time. We got our own apartment and we were in a horrible relationship. So like she moved out. We got in a bad fight. We broke up and then she moved out a couple months after. So then I was living alone at that time. And so that was like 17, 18. I moved out. I lived with her for a while. And then did I get ran over at 19 or 18? I forget now because it was sometime during the summer. But basically I got ran over by her, and that's my other second life. I broke so all the tires and over.
Okay, wait, okay, we'll get to your injury, bro. I promise we will get to your injury. Okay, so, wait a minute. Okay. So you're living together with your ex-girlfriend. Y'all are 18 at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all break. Do you remember what the fight was about?
We were toxic for each other. We would just fuck over each other both. Like, and okay, so I started dating her when I was 16 and she was 19.
Okay.
So we were already young and dumb, like just stupid relationship. And like, I won't lie, like I was a really bad boyfriend during that time.
Well, you were 16.
I know,
you're not still, good anything at that time.
I know, but this last relationship, like I did everything right. Like I did, which sucks because it ended fucking anyway and fucked me over. But so we dated from 16 to 19.
Man, you must have been slanging some dick at 16 to pull a 19-year-old.
Yeah,
good
well,
for you.
I lied to her. So, yeah. So I went to college. I was going to college, right? I was already at CNM, so I could pull it off. Like, I'm 18. I go to college. Like,
oh no.
And she was you know what's funny? The funniest part is I went to her prom, and she thought I was older, but I was 16 at a senior prom with her.
Gangster.
Yeah. So I was able to lie about. She didn't find out till like a year later. And it was the worst fight ever. Well,
I'm sure.
But she even admitted, I was like, if you knew my real age, you would have never gave me a chance. And she's like, yeah, you're right. But we were already so hooked on each other at that point. When she found out, it didn't matter. But anyway, so back to like when I was 18, 19, yeah, we were a bad couple, basically, very toxic for each other.
So you have what now would have been your end of relationship fight. How the fuck do you get ran over by her?
So it was somewhat of like a setup type shit. Like I was dumb for like believing shit, and like I don't want to go too into details because I don't want to ruin her reputation.
No, yeah, as much
we
as you
still
want, dude.
talk.
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
I know some people might know her because they know me, so I don't want to like do.
Yeah, no,
like
you're
that.
good. This is not a one of those gotcha podcasts,
Okay.
man. Where I am. This is your episode, man. Whatever you want to get into.
But anyway, so I got ran over. I broke my collarbone, like 6 of my ribs. I had like road rashes. Like my whole arm right here was like scratched off. Obviously, like I said, you can't see any of my scars. I'm tattooed, but
Well, fuck,
like,
dude. The fact you got such bright ink over what got fucked up, you got a good artist.
I have tattoos too. Like, see, so this is where I got cut open right here, and this is like where I had my ostomy bag. So,
damn.
and then I had. Well, you can't see it. Well, I guess maybe in light, but I used to cut really bad too. So I have like a lot of like cuts all over my arms and stuff, and even like
You can't fucking tell on your arms.
see, like
dude.
you could see that one just a little bit. But like I said, I was going through really suicidal shit when I was younger. So like when you're developing still, like those scars are gonna be with you more because you're still growing and it's stretching.
I mean, fuck, dude, you can't tell shit with those tattoos.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's kind of why I got these ones. See how it's like wounds in a sense, and then like that's like the blade here. See it kind of like the cutting. See the crying dripping down to the broken heart. Oh, and actually it's funny. So I got my blood drawn earlier today. Life is just crazy in general. I passed out earlier when I was getting my blood drawn earlier.
I was about to ask you, my brain, I'm not going to lie to you, my brain's going to go a real stupid question. I was going to ask you if that fucking Band-Aid was real or not, bro.
No, it is. So I could take it off now because it doesn't matter. But so last night I didn't sleep at all.
There's a trash can right underneath if you want to. Yeah, you're good.
Last night I worked out around like from 9 to like 11 for like 3 hours. So I'm going through a really bad breakup right now too. Like she just moved out like a couple weeks ago, early this month. So I've been working out nonstop. I haven't been sleeping. Like my mental state has been like super fucked up right now. But so I was working out for 3 hours. I didn't sleep all night as usual, just because it's just how I've been coping. And so I didn't go to sleep at all. My appointment was in the morning, and I was doing my annual exam where I get all my sugar levels, testing, like everything overall. And so I was getting my blood drawn, and they have to do like 5 tubes. They're like that long,
yeah,
right?
it fucking sucks.
And so I never passed out from getting my blood drawn before. It's just I was so sleepless, and I had just worked out, and I haven't been eating enough at all. I've been working out way too much, just like I said, coping through this breakup. Like I'm just in a bad state right now. And so they were drawing the 1 tube, 2 tube. By the 3 tube, I was like, I don't feel good. And then like she's like, oh shit. And so she took it out right away, and I fell forward, and she like caught me, and I was laying on the floor, like just like passing out. And so like the doctor came in, they're like, is he okay? Is he okay? And I'm like, my face is pale as shit. Like I'm super out of it.
That's the fucking worst.
Yeah, my stomach is like cramping, and like I thought that was eternity. Like I literally felt like I was dying. I was like, what's going on? And they tried giving me water and like some shake thing, like an Ensure. And what snapped me out of it is ammonia that they do at the gym where you sniff that weird shit.
The smelling salts.
Yeah, right. And it pumps you up. So he did that. So I was out of it.
They gave you the fucking smelling salts to wake your ass back up.
Yeah, so he put it on my nose, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And so I bounced out of it. I snapped out of it though. And I was like, oh shit, like what are you doing to me? And he's like, I'm trying to save you. Like, and he was like pushing on my chest. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, stop bullying me. I was like so out of it. I was like, why are you harassing me, dude? Like I didn't know what was going on. I was like still unconscious, and he was like pressing on my chest and doing this weird shit. I'm like, stop touching me, dude. Like, what are you doing? And so he gave me that salt, and I just snapped out of it, and I was straight. But that was earlier today. And then that's like I went home and like took a nap, and then that's when I came here. So that was like just today though.
Jesus, mother of God. Okay. So, all right. Wow, that fucking sucks. Have I passed out during a blood draw? No. I've gotten like woozy during a blood draw. I almost passed out when I first started. I had to get on TRT last year,
Fuck yeah.
And
like willingly or like
no,
you
like
had-
medically, like
medically.
yeah, I
Okay.
had to. Like they did my blood work, and I had like it ended up being like 168, 178 nanograms per deciliter for my
shit.
test levels. Yeah.
Damn.
Well, I was so lean at the fucking time too that like they couldn't do the IM shot through my ass.
Okay.
So they did my quad,
Oh shit.
and they were like, because I want to learn how to do it by myself, and I got a massive fear of needles. So I was like, "Fuck it, this is the time to get better, right? It's the time to fucking learn my shit." So I fucking did, and I was a fucking bitch about it, dude. Like they literally, like, so they had me on the fucking table with like my leg up. I tried to keep it relaxed as I could, and like, yeah. So all you want is you want to isolate where you're gonna do it. You're gonna get the fucking needle and just boop, and you're gonna do it. Like, okay, yeah, I got it. So I got my fucking like alcohol pad, cleaned it off, isolated the fucking skin. They drew it, gave me the needle, and it was only, I think it was like a 23, 23 gauge. So I have it, and I would go, and I just like, the needle is barely hovering over my fucking, like, I can't do it.
Oh fuck.
And this poor nurse, this guy's like, okay. No, yeah, whatever. It's okay. And by maybe like 30 or 40 seconds, he's like, you doing okay? Like, can we do this? Like, what's going on? I was like, fine, fuck it. So I did it so fucking slow.
That's the
out.
worst though. You just gotta do it like a band-aid.
Yep.
Quick and
then right when I pull it out, I fucking went like that. Just fucking went lightheaded as shit. The fucking main doctor had to come in and gave me Gatorade and like fucking put my knees up and fucking, it was bad.
Yeah, that's what I experienced earlier.
Rough. Okay, anyway, so you are
I move out.
yeah, you guys end up splitting up, you move out. When do you start like, I am curious about this. You said it was like around 19-ish. You start getting your tattoos. When do you start doing that? And like what part of your body did you start doing them on?
So I got, and I'll just backtrack a little bit just as we proceed on. So we broke up like 18, 19, excuse me. And then I get ran over. She's moved out at that point. The thing that sucks is I have a broken collarbone, I have broken ribs, and I live alone at this point, right? So I'm like in just like this I always get in these depressed states, like, and actually what's going on now. So I'm like all fucked up. I live alone. My mom ends up like coming over just to help me with stuff, and like I can't drive to work at this point, so I every day have to like have someone come pick me up because I can't drive like with one arm and my ribs and shit. Like I could barely turn because my ribs are broken, so I could like barely turn side to side and stuff. So for a while I had to get people to drive me to work, and then I finally got better, and then I went through like a really bad hoe phase, like for the first time, like ever, basically.
Right, when those ribs healed, you're like, it's time to fucking slang, son.
Well, and so from 19 to 20 is when I was single. And so that happened in July. I was going through a bunch of bullshit, and then I had a roommate move in. And so postponed to like the new year, January and February. That's when I started working 3 jobs again, because me and my homie were about to get evicted. We were just partying, like girls was like our priority. We were just fucking around so much. We were both the same age. And then we were about to get evicted, and then he started getting a job. I started getting a second job too. And then so I started working 3 jobs. And so that's when my tattoo thing started, was because I was working 3 jobs. I got my money up. So like that November, I think I got like 3 small tattoos, took some time off. And then that's when I started working 3 jobs, and I had all this money.
So small relative to what? I see some pretty big pieces.
So it was an outline. So it was this broken heart with the cuts, just the outline. Nothing was filled in. It was just a red outline, and that's all it was. And then I got this red, which means you only live once in Japanese. So actually I have like 10 different languages tatted on me. Like that's Russian. This is Spanish. That's it's so embarrassing, but I forget what some of them say, 'cause that's so much. So that's like one language. That's another language. I know that's Peru for I love you, and this means forever alone in like Latin or some shit. And then this is more Japanese. And then on my chest, this means let me love you in French.
Okay, I see.
So that's French. And then on my back, right here, that's Fuck, it's so embarrassing.
You're good.
It's because it's probably because I don't have it on top. I have it written down somewhere. Everything.
You have a log of translations.
Yeah. Oh, and I have Hebrew on my forehead too. That means never give up on my forehead. Oh yeah, and then so I have Japanese on each side too.
Do you have like a percentage of your body that you know is not covered in tattoos?
I'm about 70% covered. I feel like.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm not wearing short. Wait till short season, and then I'll be showing off the leg because I'm tatted down to my ankles and then all the way up to like my genitals up here. I just don't have like my ass, so like I'm tatted up to like right below my ass, so that's like a big spot. So, I kind of stopped now though because my ex was becoming an apprentice, and so she was doing I stopped getting tattooed because I believed in her, and I said, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna save like the rest of my body just for you so you could practice on me. So we got like 3 sessions in, but we just broke up recently and she's still apprenticing. So now I'm like, and what's fucked up is the person apprenticing her was my tattoo artist. So I got into that shop. I got really cool with that artist. She told me she started wanting tattooing. I'm like, oh, like you should like take on this dude under your apprenticeship because he's like super chill and he's done most of my work, so he's like super good and like just a dope person overall. Shout out Stilo at Tattoo Cadre. And so he started apprenticing her. And so now those are my 2 artists now, right? So I'm like taking a break. I'm going to wait a while before like I get tattooed by him or anything like that.
Yeah, so you get your emotional shit together.
Yeah,
I don't blame you at all.
Exactly. So, and actually this was the last one she did, which is hilarious because of what it says, right? But anyway, but the reason I got this,
for those of you listening on Spotify, it's a flip phone that says Toxic. And it has
no hate to her. It's for this. So like this is the Toxic collection. So I get like this. Right here. So
okay.
I have tattoos of every single collection. Unyk Life is tatted right here. So that's the reason for why I got it tatted on my face. It's like bragging rights in a way, like, oh, I own Unyk Life, or like I made Unyk Life. Like I'm the one who has Unyk Life on my face. So like I live like Unyk Life. So that's me. So that's kind of why I got tatted.
Yeah, you're proud of your fucking brand. Do that shit.
Yeah. And then I have Unyk Nyko on my knuckles. Well, I have Unyk Life tatted there. I have Unyk Life like tatted a couple times. But anyway, so yeah, I have about 70% of my body, and it all started when I was working 3 jobs. I was making a really good money. And so I got a couple tattoos, took a couple months off, and I was like, fuck, like I got all this money. Like, oh, well, actually how it started is I would always buy clothes. I've been always like a big fashion person. So I would buy new clothes, like check to check. I was just spending all these money on clothes. And I was around a lot of women at the time, and I was like, it'd be cool, like, if I look good naked too. So that's kind of how it started. Cause like I'm wearing all these cool clothes and then I have like a naked body and there's no art. And I just,
welcome to my body dysmorphia, sir.
Yeah, exactly. And so I felt like very conscious about my body, especially because of my scars too. Cause I have all these cuts on my arms and like my stomach. And so I was like, I need to stop buying clothes and like make it like permanent clothes. Like I even got the watch right here because I would wear a bunch of watches.
Okay, thank you for saying that. Like I guess I've like never heard that said out loud where it's like permanent clothes. Because I remember when I was first getting tattoos and fucking Pete, I don't know, there was a couple family members that I don't give a fuck with their opinion anyway. But like people in general were just like, well, because I started out getting superheroes. So like all of this is my superhero sleeve. Yeah. And so they're like, well, if you want to get comic characters, or what did they call it? No, if you want to get those comic magazine characters, then why not just buy a t-shirt with them on? I'm like, well, that's not the fucking point.
That's why it's called a sleeve.
That is not the fucking point. So thank you for saying it's like permanent clothes. Exactly.
So it's like wearing, like, that's what I said. That's why it's called sleeves. Like I'm wearing like a t-shirt under my t-shirt type stuff. Like, so that's kind of like how I saw it. And it's more of an investment too, because it's like bodybuilding is an art too, like with muscle and everything, like tattooing on your skin is art. Yeah. So like you're saying, it's more a way of being creative and like expressive with yourself. And I just, I love the fact that like no one can take that away from you. Like when you die, your tattoos are still going to be on your skin for life. When you get older, like there's like no one can take that away from you. It's permanent on your skin. So that's kind of where it started. When I was 19, I was working 3 jobs. And so I got most of my upper body that first year. This was This was 2019. 20. Fuck. So much stuff happened in life. Anyway, so my first year from like March to December, I got most of my upper body, and I literally spent, I think, $20K that year on just tattoos. Cause I remember at the end of that year, I couldn't even put gas in my car. So I had to tell my girlfriend at the time, like, can you please send me $20? Like, I can't even put gas in my car. And that's when I finally saw it as an issue, because my money was getting lower and lower. I was like, one more and I'll quit. One more and I'll quit.
Getting addicted to getting ink.
Yeah. So, like I floated about though, cause like that was like the last of my money from my check, and my check was coming like the next week, but I was just so down bad. Like I literally had to beg for gas money from her to help me out. And then, so that's like when I stopped, took a year off, and then, started on my legs like the following year. And so,
where did you start on your legs? I'm curious, because I'm just now getting my legs tattooed. So where did you end up starting on them?
So from the top of my thigh, and I'm working my way down, because I'm very calculated with my tattoos. So like, my whole body is divided for the most part. So it's like happy, sad, see, broken heart, XOXO, money, and loyalty. And then, so it's like greed and loyalty, and then war and peace. So like my whole body is like, all this is like more positive stuff, and all this is like more negative stuff for the most part.
Well, I see you got a fucking alien right in the back rocket.
Yeah. So this is like more on the so this is more the positive.
Yeah, I see
side.
a couple of bat symbols on there.
So that's my Batmobile. See, it says 300. So that's like me in the Batmobile, but it's in the sense of like a rocket and an alien. So, and it just says level up. So this is the positive side. And then this is like an astronaut falling from space down to Earth. So that's like more the negative side. It just says falling for you. So it's like more of a lovey-dovey touch. But I always trick stuff out. So he's wearing Calvin Klein. He has a Gucci belt on. He has a Louis Vuitton backpack, a Supreme like buckle and stuff like that. I have an Iron Man on my leg, and he wears Nike shoes, and he has like a Fermago belt, and like just he's all tricked out. I wish I was wearing shorts so I could show you.
No, dude, you have some of the most creative fucking ink that I've ever seen.
So
I dig it.
But yeah, it's just little things like that. These are all my starting tattoos, so I don't have anything like super creative like that, in a sense that like on the back of my knee I have Goku. And
You have the back of your knee?
yeah, watch. Hold on, I'll show you, because
Fuck
I think I have
that.
a picture of that. But it's an image of me, so it's like it's Goku, but he's wearing glasses and he has my tattoos like on his face. Oh, well, here's the Iron Man that I was talking about. See, he has he's wearing a polo bucket hat too. So I just like tricking out my characters to have like.
Which the camera's on him, right? I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just gonna like. I can't believe how well that worked out.
You're right.
Look at that, folks.
Sweet. Watch, I'll show you the Goku one next too. There's the Joker one, but yeah. So I have the front of my knees and the back of my knees. Here, I'll zoom in on it. So see, it's like me as the Goku. Because originally I would always have spiked hair, like spiked my hair up, like all through like high school and like.
And this is on the back of your fucking knee.
Yeah, right
Good
on the back of it.
God, dude, your pain tolerance has got to be, Goku-like.
It's worth it though. Like I said, it's an investment because pain is temporary. So it's just like you're just going to go through it for a couple hours, and then it's going to be on you for the rest of your life. So
True, but I mean, fuck, dude.
yeah, see, so he has my piercings and my face tattoos, and then gauges too. So it kind of matches me. And then I have like a self portrait version of me with the Joker as well. So he's wearing glasses and has piercings as well. And then he has my forehead tattoos as well. Oh. And then this is Stilo again at Tattoo Cadre. He did all that stuff. So he's the man because he kills it on all those.
I like how it's coming up on camera.
Right.
Fuck.
It's focusing and everything.
And where is this?
The back of my knee as well.
Fuck.
So like I said, a lot of my body is symmetrical. So I have one face on the back and then one face on the other back. So like
I've got no-go places on my body, dude. And the front and back of my knees are those no-go places, bro.
Yeah, it was. And then this is on my knee. So I have Jesus on one knee,
Oh my God.
and then the demon on another
Can we
knee.
get that again? I'll throw it up on camera.
So like
He got this on his knee, folks.
and that one's like fully covered on the kneecap. So that one was pretty freaking brutal.
Dude.
And we did that in 2 sessions, I think. One the outline and then one the color. I'm pretty sure I have my other knee because the other knee is well, actually this is just my, so that's where I started. So I got that one, knee. So I just worked my way down. So I went from like the top of my leg to the bottom of my leg, just so I could calculate it good, the placement. Because like the knees are like the main things I wanted to get first because those are like, you can't move the kneecap anywhere else. So that was like a calculated spot I had to set for myself before I started doing fillers like around it. And so that's my symbol. So like that's the Unyk life symbol on one leg and then the Unyk Nyko symbol on the other leg.
That's fucking crazy.
But
Damn,
that's
son.
just a little bit of it. Yeah, see, that's on my phone too.
Yeah. Okay. Damn. How many hours do you think you have on your body?
I lost
Or
count.
do you know?
I lost count. I usually say by money wise, I probably spend like 30 grand so far on my body. I think like it could be less, it could be more. I just did it so rapidly that
So let's average out $100 an hour. So you've got like 300 hours in your body.
like I said, I lost count. I used to try to keep track, but I was going literally like once a week, twice a week. At one point I was going 3 times a week, but it's because it was my arm. So I was getting like little stuff on my arm. So
Right. You were doing like whole forearm,
Exactly.
whole shoulder, whole, it was like little bits and pieces here.
yeah,
and
like
there.
my kneecap that had to just be 1 week and
Right.
then waited another month to finish it. But
Yeah.
like I said, when you have money, you tend to like spend a lot on like what you love. So like since I got so much money, I was buying. Yeah,
I
Your whole
don't know
setup.
what the fuck you're talking about,
yeah.
dude.
But anyway, so that's like how I fell in love with the clothes, and then I fell in love with the tattoos. So I just blew all my money on it and went all out. And so I'm like I said, I'm kind of slowing down just because every tattoo I get now, I want it to be towards my collection. So like I'm going to have so much collections coming out in the years to come. So I'm just saving each tattoo session for something that resembles that collection that I'm doing.
Your color palette. When did you decide that?
Early on, well, so this was red and this was like black and red. I was just doing red, but these were all outlines. So like this, and it's funny. So my first tattoo was a broken heart, and that's funny because it was with another. I'm a big lover boy type shit, like all that. I even have hopeless romantic right here on my arm. But so my first tattoo was a broken heart, and that was because after a breakup. And then this symbolized like just all my cuts because I have like a crap ton of cuts on my forearm. So I got the semicolon and then ... So
I didn't even fucking notice that. That's crazy. Let me see that.
And that's why it says you only live once, the semicolon for like suicide awareness.
Yeah.
And then I got it because like a period with the broken heart eyes frowning, and then a smile face with the regular heart eyes. And then ... like to be continued. So it's like sad, split, and then happy again. So like you just got to push through it. You only live once type of thing.
And so the what looks like slits in the ground, those were actually the scars that you've had, and you branched the obviously the flowers, but you like built the tattoos out of those.
Yeah, so like every single one of my tattoos have a deep meaning. They all do. Like some people just get tattoos because they look cool, but like I could go on hours and hours just talking about like what each piece specifically means to it, but that's just growth, like the roots. So flowers are coming from my cuts because I'm blossoming them into like a better person. And then this thing is with the smile is I'm like, that's why it's not colored inside. So I feel empty and I'm sad and I have broken heart eyes, but I'm surrounded. I'm like making everyone else happy around me. So that's like what this tattoo meant with the smile. And this thing, love with a broken heart. So it means again, like I'm empty and like broken inside, but like I'm pouring out all my hearts and my love and color to everyone else. So that's kind of like what the wrists mean. The wrist ones are kind of all like that because like of like cutting myself and stuff. So they're like have to have like a positive message, or like they're like have a deeper meaning. But on the flip side, literally, is I'm the alien that comes in peace. So that's kind of like what those costuming with the alien and the crown, because I always use the emojis to represent myself. It's usually a crown and an alien, so that was like literally my mascot. For my brand is alien. So like, yeah, with my brand, it's like fashion from out of this world. And then I never wanted to show my face, so like it started with the alien mask, which actually we could get into now. So yeah, I started my tattoo journey. I moved to a different city, actually. I don't want to say it on air.
Yeah, you're good.
But I already told you. So I moved out of Albuquerque a year after that other apartment, which was on Central Louisiana. And actually, I moved, like I was saying, because the crime is horrible. And I was delivering at Pizza Hut on Central in Wyoming. We would get robbed all the fucking time.
I am sure.
And so I got robbed like 3 times, and it sucks. So they took my phone too. One of the robberies, they took my phone. So I lost everything on my freaking phone.
Gangbangers, crackheads, or both?
It was kids, actually. Like the time I got my phone taken, it was a group of like teenagers. I'm pretty sure there was like 6 of them, and they all had like guns.
So wannabe gangbangers.
Something like that. Whatever the kids are into nowadays, their morals are super screwed. Like I said, our society is just like slowly going downhill, like day by day, especially everything on the news. It's awful. So that's why I moved to that city, because it's very quiet. There's like nothing going on out there. Like the most out there is like shoplifting, but like you never hear about any homicides out there. So it's super nice out there.
Like, we won't say where, but I was very shocked because like I've been up there and like spent time and shit, but like I never really realized like the contrast until I had this guy on who was running for governor. And
of that city, or
no, for governor of the state.
Oh, okay.
But he was a political representative out of that city.
Okay.
And he was telling me about it, about how like, yeah, I mean, like you just said, we have like these soft crimes like fucking burglary or like shoplifting, but we don't have the fucking murder stats. We don't have the violent crime stats, the car theft, the rape. Like we don't have any of that up there.
Exactly.
And I want to sit back down with him now that he's out of the governor's race and really have like an actual conversation about how he actually feels about shit. You know what I mean? Because I want to learn about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you end up moving.
Yeah. So that was 2019. That summer I moved in May. And so I was rebranding myself. And that's when I met my ex that I was with for just 3.5 years. I met her at Target. So I moved, got a new apartment, got a new job. I was going to go down the same route of like my hoe phase, but like I met her just before that, thank God, because she saved me, and we kind of saved each other because she was like, well, I don't want to say too much about her, just like doing my due diligence, but like we were both just not in the best spots. And so we kind of really grew with each other and helped each other grow into like this beautiful like power couple that we once were. And so I moved there. I met her in like June. So I moved in May, met her in June. We started dating like instantly. It was like love at first sight. Like we just clicked like that. And like, that was like the really first girl I started talking to. So I was like, oh, this life is lining up. Like all these good things are happening. Like, I know this is meant to be. And so it was meant to be, for 3.5 years at least. But, so I started making music finally that same fall. And so I made my first album within like September to like January, I think. So I finally became a musician, which I've been wanting to do like my whole entire life. So that's kind of where my business venturing started. And so my homies showed me the way that I actually met at Target, which is cool because I met him at Target and then I met my ex at Target. And so we would record. He would help me with everything, with all the producing and like recording and all that stuff. And then we bought a camera because I was like, we should just do music videos, me and you. Like you could film it and like we could edit together or whatnot. So we started doing music videos, and then he ended up going to the army. And so that spring, like following like February and all that. So we made that first.
And what year is this again?
20. Well, now it's 2020. Before COVID, he left to the army. And so he had all the equipment, he had everything. So I was like, fuck, like I still want to make music. So I released that album under both mine and his name since he helped me with it. It's like an 8-song album, and it has like Well, I still do it to this day. So each time I release a song, I'll release a music video. So each song has its own music video just because I love the visuals and like doing like my music videos are very trippy and stuff like that with effects wise and everything like that. They're not cinematic at all. They're just like pretty wild. So it's a 8-song album, I think. So I dropped that album at the beginning of 2020. COVID happened. And I was still working. I think I was working at Walmart at that point. So I worked through it all, which sucks. I wish I could have been one of those unemployment people because they got mad racks. It was like a vacation. And my ex was working at Target at the time too. So we were both just working through the whole pandemic. But anyway, so I saved up, bought my own equipment. And then it took me like 4 months to make my very first song on my own because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. He taught me a little bit, but like doing it on my own took me a while. And just for like people listening, like you can really teach yourself anything like because of YouTube. Like you want to start a podcast, why not? Like just look up how to do it. Like if you want to be like a musician, photographer, videographer, like artist, like there's literally the internet is your friend. You could literally look up how to do anything. If you want to become a mechanic, just like you don't need school. Like obviously to become a doctor, like be a nurse, like you need like those degrees in order to get that job. And that's totally fine. But like for small things like these side ventures, that aren't of like the norm that most people do, like you really don't need a degree at all. Like you don't have to waste years at school. Like the experience is what's going to really like teach you how to do things. So I learned everything from YouTube, just from like filming, from editing music videos and to making music. So then I made my first song. I did my first music video. It's horrible. It's still out there. It's a stepping stone, but like it's god awful.
And keep that shit out there, dude.
Yeah.
That's all. I keep my shitty podcasts on there.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
You got to start somewhere. So like my first song or two, like they're ass, they're horrible, but you could still listen to them though. But then I slowly started getting better, like with my music videos, with my voice and everything. And so I was doing like a new song every month. Like it took me like a month to make the song, do the music video. So each month I just had like, I was releasing a song and a music video. And then 2021 is when I started my brand. So from 2020 to COVID, in 2021 in September, I quit music because I had finished my second album. So I dropped my second album and I knew I wanted to start a clothing brand, and I knew it was going to take a lot of time and it was going to be really hard. And I needed to devote like all my energy into it, just like I did with music. So I quit music. I was like, well, not quit it completely. Like I still want to make music. I just had to postpone it. So I put it on pause. And then in July of 2021, that's when I started like trademarking like everything, the logo, the name, building my website, Shopify. And then I released my first collection in September, August, I think. And so that's just where it all started from there. And then I could kind of go through the little things, but I never wanted to be a photographer. Like you saw me, you say I'm great at it, but
Dude, your shots are fucking great.
But to be honest, I never wanted to be a photographer. That wasn't my dream. Like once I started making music videos, that was like a dream that I just got into because I saw how good I was at the music videos and I loved how it looks. So I was like, I want to be a musician. I want to have a clothing brand. I want to be a music video person.
Yeah.
And so I got in photography because when I started my clothing brand, I was like, I really don't want to hire someone to do photos, to edit them, pay them. Like I want to do photos my way. I want to edit my way on my time. Like that's just how I've always been. And so, and I'm working all this too during all this. I'm still at Walmart and everything. So I'm working.
If you want to let the dogs out, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. I'm hearing the dogs bark. So yeah, go ahead.
So it's still recording and everything. We're
Oh
good?
yeah.
It's on you though.
Okay.
It's going on you this one.
Oh yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So anyway, I'm still working during this whole time, trying to do my clothing brand. I'm like barely sleeping because like outside of work, like my stupid 9 to 5, and which I eventually quit because I don't do a 9 to 5 anymore. I do my brand full time. But
Beautiful.
so I was working, making music, and then quit music, still working through up until 2022. Last year is where I quit my job. I'll get to that. So I started my brand, and so I got in photography. I didn't want to hire anyone. So then we had the camera from doing music videos already. So I was like, well, we already have a camera. Like, we should just take photos of each other. So my ex at the time would take pictures of me modeling the men's clothes. I would take pictures of her doing the women's clothes. So it kind of worked out good in that way because we were able to model each other, not hire like models for the brand, which I got into later.
Right.
So that's how I got into photography.
Do you have like a website we could pull up?
Yeah, Unyk Life. Just spelled UNYK and then LYFE. So that's where everything's at for the most part. But I do have YouTube where I post all my videos at. That's like the main platform where all my videography is. And then mainly obviously like Reels, but I also post it for YouTube Shorts and TikTok and all that. But Unyk Life everywhere is where you'll find like everything. See, so I have everything on there. So yeah, my 3 ventures, Unyk Life Clothing, Unyk Life Films. You could just X out of it. But that's where like I basically, and so Unyk Life Productions started with my
You'll pull
music.
up the clothing.
Yeah. And yeah, you could just do shop all. I think I have around 200 products on there right now.
Oh shit.
See, that's what I'm wearing. I'm wearing Plur right now, and then Toxic, and then I have the Tangled fanny pack, and then the Plur joggers right now. So I basically, if I could put my brand's design on it, I'll do it. So I have anywhere from beanies, ski mask, visors, socks, slippers, bucket hats, shirts, crop tops, hoodies, joggers, shorts, headbands, face masks, gator masks, sports bras, bikini sets, string bikinis, booty shorts, dolphin shorts, tube tops, velvet hoodies. Like I just have like I started Home Goods, so I sell pillow. I sell pillowcases now. I have towels. I have blankets now. Oh, see, look, the throw blanket. That's actually this one, but the hat I'm wearing is that design. So I have a throw blanket right there. And that's I want to expand more, and like I want to do blackout curtains, like rugs. Actually, I do have a rug, but I made that for myself, so I don't sell. Oh yeah, men's underwear, so I sell underwear too. So like I'm saying, literally like anything, and it's still expanding. So eventually, I'm just gonna, each collection I want to come out with just more and more stuff. So those are like my early collections, and that's how I got in photography, is basically through models. So I would shoot models, and then my brand clothing revolves around kind of like ravers, because it's super colorful and no one else really wears colorful clothes except ravers for the most part. So that's like the demographic that I've targeted.
Right.
So then I would rave a lot because I went to my first rave pre-COVID, and so I would still go to raves after COVID, but after a while, I'm weird. So like, when I was at raves, the next business venture I want to do is I want to become a DJ, because my voice sucks. So I don't want to give up on it, but I love like DJing and the rave scene and everything. So that's like one of my next business ventures, is to become a DJ, which isn't going to be anytime soon because I still haven't pursued it yet. And I want to take my time perfecting my craft. So like when I start doing it, it's going to be like a year till I go public, because I feel like those first impressions mean everything, because I don't want to
for sure
get all these gigs and be like, this DJ sucks, and then that be my reputation and like have a comeback.
He's just another guy who bought some turntables, plugged in his iPhone, and fucked it all up. Right.
So I'm going to take my time perfecting that, but it's going to be another thing that I'm going to have to dive into. Like I had to quit my music to do my clothing brand. It's just, I didn't expect Unyk Life Films to be photography. That's why it's just called Unyk Life Films, because I only wanted to be a videographer, like doing music videos and like some other side stuff with videos. So
for sure,
Unyk Life Films was never supposed to be photography, but I just fell in love with doing photos because I was doing modeling shoots, and then I would go to raves and I would see the photographers there, and I'd be like, it would be cool to shoot raves, because then I'm raving, I'm enjoying the music, I'm networking with people, because that's how I network and met a lot of my models, and like met a lot of my connections is by going to shows. So I met a lot of dope people through that. So I was like, it'd be cool if I'm like shooting, I'm getting paid to go to raves by shooting shows, like meeting DJs, like meeting people still. So I'm like being productive and I'm enjoying myself. So then in 2022 March, I shot my first show. And then I kind of fell in love with that. It was ass though. My photos were not that good, because shout out to all the like festival and club photographers, rave photographers. Like that is the hardest like photography you can do, because the lights are going
everybody's jumping around. The DJs are jumping around. Like there's so much movement. You're not in a studio. You don't have like a solid set lighting. Like there's just so much crap going on with shows. So like it's like I feel like one of the most like hardest photographies to master. So if you could master it, then you're like set within that realm. Cause like there's a lot of like amazing, we have a lot of like really good local photographers that shoot shows. So I fell in love with that. And then now I started just picking up other jobs. Like I work for ABQ Live for like that night I was under ABQ Live. So ABQ Live will have me go shoot like a dealership, or like I shot Comic-Con under them. And like, so they just, I think of them like almost as a booking agent where they just have me book me to shoot this person. I don't have to go network and like ask people, hey, do you want me to shoot? So that's kind of like how I think of them as, because I'm not there like every day. They just have me go shoot when they like need me on a job to job basis type style. So I didn't expect Unyk Life Films to take over so much. So that's why like I'm trying right now to balance Unyk Life Films and Unyk Life Clothing at the same time. Cause like I don't have a social media manager. Like I don't have a photographer. I don't have a videographer. My ex helped me design a couple of the collections. So shout out to her for that. But I run the website, like I run my YouTube, I'm running all my social medias. So I'm just one person.
It's a lot of work, dude. Like you do so much more than I do. And I drown every day in the work that I do. Like for this, you know, and there's like, you're giving your flowers out. You know, I love being able to podcast in general, but like being able to live stream and put this out this way, this doesn't happen without one of my homies sitting behind here. Exactly. So I totally get that. Yeah.
And the thing is too, is because, well, it goes back to, it's a blessing and a curse being unique. So I quit my job in 2022 in like September, and I've never looked back since.
Yeah. I was going to say, that is such a beautiful thing that I want to touch on. And it's a beautiful thing to close on. I really want to hear about you deciding to leave your job, leaving your job, and then transitioning into now being a self-employed individual. Like, cause that's a pathway not a lot of people know, and it's not available to a lot of people. So like, let's lay that out. Like, what did that look like for you before we get out of here?
So, basically, okay, well, to start off, I always get fired or I quit, mainly fired from all jobs. So since I was 17 up until now, I've had like 20 jobs. One year I had well, it's because I would work 3 jobs at once.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Certain years, and then I would get fired and then get another one.
Yeah.
So I would always be getting fired from my jobs. And I knew from an early age on, I was always different and I wasn't meant to do a 9 to 5. And it just proves that of me always getting fired or like quitting, because I'm always like effing off and doing my own thing. So to a certain point, I was making enough money with my clothing brand, with Unyk Life Clothing, Unyk Life Films, that I knew I wasn't going to be making a lot of profit, but I was saying I'm spending so much time on this job that's literally getting me nowhere in life. So that same energy I'm putting inside this 9 to 5, that extra 8 hours could literally be going towards my job. And like, if I crash down, at least I'm trying. And like, if anything goes wrong, I have nothing to lose. I'll just get another job. You know what I mean? So I just went balls to the walls with it, quit my job. And it's really helped motivated me to like push way harder, because when you're not having that income from a regular job that's always going to be there, it's like, well, I need to grind harder now and push myself harder, because my brand is my income. And so if you're afraid to quit your job and like do your dreams, just like go after it. Because if it doesn't work out, just get another job. There's always going to be jobs out there. So like, you literally have nothing to lose. Like, just save up a lot of money. Well, you don't have to save up like a crap ton, just backup money just in case. So obviously you don't get homeless and like lose all your shit. So you just got to save up a bit of money, put it towards your brand, and then just slowly, as that brand is making more money and you feel comfortable to quit your job, like don't even hesitate to quit your job. Like all that time you're putting towards that job, put it towards your brand. And in the long run, it's going to suck at first. Like you're going to be stressed out. Like with anything in life though, it's always going to be hard the first couple steps of the way. But once you get past all those bad steps, then you're just running the rest of the way.
Have you gotten to a point where you're comfortable with the income that you're making? Like not like comfortable as in like complacent, but to the point, it's like, okay, if I keep up this steady stream of effort, you know, I'm going to keep maintaining. I can still live the life that I'm living right now. Have you gotten to that point yet?
I don't think I'll ever get to that point.
Well,
So,
again, like not complacency, because there's always like you always want to work harder, but like to the point where it's like you're comfortable without having the 9 to 5. Like when did you hit that?
I think it was when I hit like a certain criteria in my bank account. So it was like over 10K. And so I felt like I was good enough. Like if all else fails, I have like all this backup money just in case. So I feel like you should at least have 5 figures in your, 5 figures in your bank account. Like 10 grand is a good scheme for like a couple, like 6 months of like rent, car insurance, like basic needs, food, all that stuff.
So that's good. I was eventually gonna ask you that, but that's good that you're saying that, because I hate, and I see it all the fucking time on social media. It's like, chase your dreams, go after it, fuck your job. It's like, okay, like I love where you're coming from, but you need a plan.
Yeah,
you need a fallback. You need to. So it's good for people to hear that you didn't just say fuck it, let's see what happens, just jumped head first. Like, no, you had a plan, and 10K to save up, that is not an easy feat. You got to grind for that alone. So I think that should be said too.
Well, you don't want to make decisions out of desperation, because your brand's going to fail. Well, there's always desperation at some points, but financially, you don't want to invest in bad things like equipment. Like when you first start off, of course, you have to buy bad equipment. But then if you don't have any more money to upscale that equipment, you're going to be stuck being in a shittier place for a longer time than whereas if you would have just saved up, have that backup money, do what you can for a shorter amount of time with what you got, and then invest. Because you have that backup money, you could invest in better equipment for your brand.
Well, and I would not be podcasting right now if I still had the equipment I started with.
Exactly.
Like I've told this story 1,000 fucking times, so I'm sorry to anyone who listened to this that has heard this story. But when we did the podcast for the first time, it was me and our buddy Joey. He's a firefighter. He lives here with us too. He and I did the podcast for the first time in the condo that I was living at in the Heights, and we did in the fucking kitchen. And I told myself I'm going to spend $100 on equipment, and that's nothing. Yeah, like 100 is nothing. So I ended up spending like 200 because $100 is just the fucking. You can go get the dogs in if you want. So here, no, you're good. No, by the time you're back, I'll still be finishing this other story. But so we end up fucking. We were doing the podcast, and I spent like $100 on this audio mixer. It's not a bad audio mixer, just it doesn't really work for what I'm doing now. So I got this $100 audio mixer. I got on a discount, and then I've got these cheap little microphones, cheap little video cameras. Like these things came in boxes that were like all white, and like the video cameras,
like off-brand.
It wasn't even like off-brand. Like it was just it was off-brand, but it was like it wasn't even close to a brand. It just said video camera on it, crap. And it came out of the back of some like Chinese warehouse, dude. Damn. I paid like $25 for this camera, and so a buddy of mine. He lived in LA at the time, but now he lives in Arizona. I had approached him about the podcast, and I was like, hey man, like you do your own, because he like makes music, he does coding, he does all that. Like, he's very much like you. He's a work from home, self-employed guy. And so I was like, dude, you do a bunch of audio stuff and you do a bunch of like graphics. I would love it if I could just commission you to make the logo, make a little animation. I'll throw you like $50-$60, like whatever you want, dude. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Well, 3 days later, he gets back to me and he goes, dude, fuck that. We'll talk about money later. I'll do that for you, and I'll produce. I'll produce from afar. Like I'll edit your I'll mix and master your audio. I'll show you how to edit video. Like we'll get this up and running. And once you start making money, we'll talk about paying me. And I was like, sounds good. You just said I can make money doing podcasting. Let's go get off to the business. And I remember I sent him the audio and the video files from that first episode. He sends it back to me. He's like, bro, we can't use this shit. This is so bad. We're doing audio only. Here's the fucking, excuse me. Here's the equipment you should use. This will be good, like permanent equipment, and either save up, get help, whatever. But this is the way to do it. Yeah. And but I just think back, because you're completely right. Like, yeah, you're gonna go through periods of using shitty equipment, but I mean, at the end of the day, if I still had the equipment that I was using back then, this would not be a fucking thing. I can't believe this is a fucking thing. Like sometimes, like as I'm here doing a podcast, on a regular basis, I'll be listening to the guests, and I'll kind of just like take a look around.
Like this is happening.
Yeah, I'm like, why is one of my best friends sitting behind a fucking desk right now? What the fuck is happening? This is so fucking strange. But I'm blessed beyond fucking measure. And I'm sure you feel the same exact way. Like the ability to break out of the 9 to 5 and do what you want to do. And that's not even shitting on that lifestyle, because there are people who have a 9 to 5 or have a career job where they work for a company or they work at a place and they love it. Like they genuinely love it. They don't feel trapped. And there is nothing wrong with that. But for other people who don't want to do that, finally getting to that point of liberation, I mean, that's got to be so fucking, like, you got to be blessed out of your mind.
Well, and I'll end with that too, that I showed my ex that too, because she would always be complaining about her job. She hated what she was doing. And like, I made the move to quit my job and pursue my brand. And she was always like a big art person. And I was like, well, I would always dad her too. She hated for me. And she's like, I hate that you're always like trying to be a dad to me and like boss me and shit like that. But I was like, it's because I love you and I care about you and I want to see you do better. Like, I don't want you to see you complaining about your life every day. Like, I want you to live the best life you can live. And so I was like, well, what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with your life? Like, just always asking her. And so she said she wanted to become a tattoo artist. Someone's like, well, go for it. I'm my tattoo artist. Like, you could talk to him. Like, you're fucking awesome at art. And that's like where she is now. And she was like working 2 jobs, I think. So she quit one and now she's like working just a couple hours at one of them. But for the most time, she's like at the studio like almost every day. And like,
that's sick.
And now she loves what she's doing. And it's like, just for everyone out there, like, if you hate your life, like you're the only one who can fix that. You're in control of everything. Like, if you want to go on a marathon right now, nothing's stopping you. Like, if you want to become the president or whatever the hell you want to do, like, it's possible, like, but it's not going to be easy. Like, both of us, we know like the best, like all the hardships we face starting our own companies, starting our own brands. Like, it's going to suck. You're going to get thrown in the mud. You're going to get knocked down, but like, it's like survival of the fittest. Like, you just can't give up. Like, all the people who are millionaires today, like 90% of them went through all the same shit we're going through now, but they prevailed and they made it through the mud.
Well, that's a fucking beautiful message to end this podcast on, man. Before we get out of here, where can people find you, find your photography, we just pulled up your brand, and I'll throw that back in the description when we finish up here. So on like social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, where can they find you?
So what's nice is you could type in Unyk, so UNYK, and Unyk Nyko should pop up and Unyk Life should pop up if we have mutuals. But for those like who are not really in the facility or the same spectrum, it's just UNYK and then Life, LYFE. So it's Unyk Life, and then Unyk Nyko is UNYK NYKO. But if you just type in Unyk Life, there's no other Unyk Lives out there. So like my website should pop up, put it on YouTube, put it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Unyk Life is like where you could find that at. And then I'm just Unyk Nyko on everything.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, this has been a blast. Like, I knew it was going to be, but this has been seriously such an amazing time. Thank you again for bearing with the technical difficulties in the beginning, but I'm glad we got our shit together, because I'm blessed, dude. This is another fucking banger of an episode. Like, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for coming by.
Likewise.
We will be back, guys, on Monday. It's upcoming Monday, May 1st. I think at 5:30 or 6 we'll be back. But until then, thank you everyone for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.